Okay, we'll call this work session to order. Wednesday, May 1st. Time is 1 p.m. sharp. Let's do the swearing in of an officer first. Okay, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand and then repeat after me. I, Eric E. R. Zewald,
I, Eric R. Zwald,
being duly sworn, depose and say that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
depose and say
I will support
I will support the Constitution
of the United
United
States,
States,
the constitutions of the state of Oregon,
constitutions of the state of Oregon,
and the laws therefore,
and the laws therefore,
and will faithfully perform
and will faithfully perform
the duties of police officer
the duty of police officer
of the city of St. Helens,
of the city of St. Helens,
Oregon,
Oregon,
to the best of my ability and understanding.
to the best of my ability and understanding.
During my term of office,
During my term of office,
so help me God.
so help me God.
All right. Breathe, Eric, breathe. I hope I don't stick him.
What were you?
Yep. All right, budget that in, chief, okay? Now I'm gonna get a signature here for you.
Did somebody take a picture of me?
Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna step out of the way.
Yeah, I just want to take my phone.
No, you're not getting a kiss. I guarantee you.
Did you want one with your phone?
Yeah, please. I can't keep my gut sucked in any longer.
Thank you.
Okay, Eric.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Eric, we'd like to welcome you to the city of St. Helens. I would like you to be introduced to our counselors. This is Councilor Lott, Councilor
Thank you. I'm
Carlson,
honored. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank
Council President Morton,
you. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.
and Councilor Topaz,
I'm honored. Thank you.
City Recorder Kathy Payne,
Yes, thank you. I'm honored.
City Advisor or Finance Director Matt Brown, and City Officer. So it may not be worth much, but I put Mayor and.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. I'm honored.
Yep. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for
Yep.
being here.
Okay, visitor comments. Come on up, Judy. You got to state your name for the record. Okay.
Well, this is a hard act to follow, let me tell you. State it right here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Judy Thompson. Oh, I have to sit like
You know,
with my back to it.
or you can actually grab the mic out, Judy, if you'd
Oh, no,
like.
this is fine.
Okay.
Judy Thompson, 185 South 4th, longtime resident. And I'm here to talk to the council about a couple of things that are coming up that are super exciting.
Yep.
First of all, I want to thank the City Council Youth Group this weekend. Youth
Yes.
Council,
Yes.
they rocked it.
They did.
an awesome cleanup behind the courthouse and planted, like, by the time we were all done, it was like 6 flats of flowers. And the teamwork was incredible, and it was just super awesome. But,
Nice day for it too.
Oh, heavens, yes.
Yes.
And speaking of a nice day, we have a few things that are happening. So I did want to come by and give information on the NAMI Walk. Many of you are familiar with
Yep.
this. This is the 9th year for my team. And not only that, more important, you have the St. Helens Youth Council formed a team as well. So we've got some outstanding reasons for you to join a NAMI Walk team. Columbia Walker's longtime CCMH team, Steve, and I think Doug,
you.
talked to me at Citizens Day at the park last year about
Yes.
getting behind us on this. And on the second page, it tells about what we contribute to the community with the dollars that we raise for Columbia County. Hi, Jenny. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware of the walk, and it's super easy to sign up for walk. You have 3 awesome teams to support, and we'd love to have you. I mean, we could really kick butt. I mean, for the state of Oregon, if we had over 100 walkers for Columbia County, we would be the highest number of team. Yeah.
Well, I am
Team.
impressed with how much you guys, how far out you guys reach with
Yes.
different organizations.
Yeah, so last year we raised $15,080. We bring 75% of that back to the community, and we're able to put into programs that are on the second page there that I
Yep.
listed. Peers for Christmas, CIT training. In the past, we put 18 officers through CIT training. We
The
brought
Jordan
2,
Center,
the Jordan Center. Yeah, read
the
it off
Elks
for me.
Veteran Bunker, Suicide Prevention, Amani Center, SAFE, Alano Club, Sandy School of Horsemanship, educational support,
Mhm.
and yes, and the Elks Bunker monthly on the second Saturday of the month. The Elks Bunker in St. Helens.
It's our support group meeting,
Yes.
which is going really well. We started that in October, and I was really pleasantly surprised and amazed and somewhat kind of embarrassed that we had not had this going much sooner than we actually had it started. So the Rainier group had retired in January, so it's really important for our county to have a good support group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that the council, and I'm going around to different businesses as well, and then it's just join a team. I mean, you won't vaporize. It's not painful, and it would just be amazing support for our community. And then the other thing that we got to do because of Walk Dollars Raised is on the very last page is Saturday, May 4th is the very first mental health fair event that we're having. And we're going to have all kinds of awesome things at that. I mean, let's see. I really need my glasses. I can't read all this. You want to read? Well, you want to read all that for me?
Sure, I can do that. Okay, it looks like Kohai is at noon to 1. A complimentary tote bag while supplies last.
Tote bag.
This little tote bag. Borrowless bikes. May have helmets for kids. Safety check. 100 Mike Mile Challenge in June. Julie, accumulations, my next step, emotional intelligence. So this is a girl who'll be giving a talk. Okay. Brooke and Rhonda, Sandy School of Horsemanship. Barn Buddies, therapy riding, youth programs, volunteering. Cool. Joan, Community Art Flagship Project, paint flags, squares. We had that presentation here. Joan Youngberg. Margie Ann, mindfulness. Rhonda, Toastmasters, speaking confidence, 10 a.m. to noon. Jenny, seniors activity and living better enjoyment. Derek, next adventure, kayak, river. Karen, out of darkness, sponsored by Scappoose Police Department. Yep.
Okay.
Kelly, St. Helens High School Connect program, very good program. I've been a little bit involved in that. Lily, food hero. Angie, yoga demonstration. May not happen. May happen. May not. We'll see.
Zumba is yes.
Zumba is yes. Andrea is doing Zumba. Natasha, keep it local. Community networking. CCMH, Columbia Community Mental Health. Oh, okay, got the acronyms. National Alliance of Mental Illness, which is NAMI. Yes. Therapy Dog, Joe's Grub Cart, cool. Make My Own Bouquet, Vanessa, rock painting. Alexis, face painting. Lisa, affirmation fortune tell with glass ball. That sounds kind of cool. If you're into that. There's going to be a flash mob, Ryan, and cornhole toss and mental health walk. Wow, there's a lot going on this day. And then door prizes, outdoor next adventure package, cool. Giant unicorn summer sprinkler. Wow, that sounds very unique.
It is.
Yes.
Trust me.
Movie night and gift certificates for the Roof Restaurant.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a lot.
Yeah. So
Yes.
come check it out. It'll be fun. We got perfect dates.
So can people go to a website to look at this? NAMI Walk Northwest website, and you'll be able to see all that itinerary.
Yep. And just plug in the team you're looking for, and it'll take you right to their team page, and you can join, sponsor a walker. It would be awesome to have that support.
So how could we sponsor? I don't know if I'll be able to make it for the walk, but I'd like to show up and support.
You can walk it for real. You can walk as a virtual walker, like sign up and say, I can't walk this day, but the cause is important to end the stigma
Yep.
of mental illness and encourage people to get help when they need it. So you can walk from your fishing boat if you want.
Yes.
You can walk while you're cutting your grass if you want.
Yes. We had
you
an
don't
aunt
have
from
to go to
France.
Portland,
I
or
cut a
you
lot of
can,
grass.
or you can donate to
Yes.
a walking team and to support them financially. So there's
Yes.
lots of ways that you can do it financially. You can do it by going to Portland. You can do it by staying in your own house.
Okay.
There's no reason not to support them in some capacity, because it is, you don't have to spend anything. You just have to believe in the cause.
And have a
And
conversation about mental
75%
health.
of the dollars are locally going to local nonprofits to help the cause.
Well, we bring if we we get to bring back 75% of what we raise to the county, and that's true for every county. So it's a big
Oh, cool.
big deal for Multnomah, Washington, and
Yes.
Clackamas. For every county, they get to bring those dollars back
Yeah,
and put to work.
they cover things that are not covered by health insurance, not covered.
A lot of
A lot of things are not paid for
Yeah.
by any other benefit.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for NAMI, it wouldn't exist.
Yeah. So, okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Jenny's very insightful too.
Her and I've been together a little bit.
Yeah, I can tell that. Okay, other visitor comments.
Good afternoon. Patrick Trapp from the Port of Columbia County. Just a couple little updates here that's going on. Last night we had the Citizens Advisory Board for the marina, or the Scappoose Bay Marina, over there in our side of the house. They will reviewing possible rate changes to some of the annual things that we charge, whether it be parking or launch fees or things along those lines. And then that'll be presented to the commission, I believe, at our upcoming meeting on May 8th. Just a reminder, too, I had the opportunity to talk with some folks, and they asked if the port had offered our assistance either through paperwork or past experience as you work through the industrial development on your waterfront. We talked to John about it a number of occasions, but again, a reminder: should the city seek any advice or expertise, since we do a lot of industrial development and industrial leases, our doors are always open, and feel free to reach out. And I know some of you have already, but again, just a reminder in case the opportunity comes up and you're interested. Our budget meetings start basically next week on the 8th, and we'll go through a couple sessions and then towards our opportunity to approve our annual budget. I know Councilwoman Carlson has asked a couple times on Don Chung. You were here. I missed you last time when I came, but I think I passed it. Wasn't looking good. And again, since you're here, I'll say that again. It's it's not looking good in regard to whether they'll actually come to fruition. I think they're being caught up in the challenges of working overseas as an automobile maker. Basically, they don't want to sell their patent.
Yeah.
And larger automobile makers want to buy their patent. And so they're kind of being, my words, frozen out a little bit on selling their product. It's a pretty cutthroat business, the auto industry. But just to let you know where they stand at this point. So I'm not as optimistic as I was a month or so ago. And then finally, just a congratulations to Neil. I know think that yesterday was his last
Yep,
day.
yesterday was the last.
And he has always been a great resource for the port, as well as Sue has, but I now guess Sue has twice the work to do. So.
That
But anyway,
correct statement. Yes.
so barring any questions, that's basically all I have for you today.
It's a good time to dovetail into Neil's retirement party here on Thursday.
Okay, great.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Just like to see you.
Yes.
Great. What time?
1.
Yep.
Here?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay, other visitor comments? Seeing none? Okay, let's go. Request from St. Helens High School Safe and Sober Committee. Merritt Nelson.
I have a senior,
Yes.
so,
Uh,
and Merritt works with the senior
Yes.
class, so I'm just making sure that I've declared that up front.
yep.
Thank you. I'm Merritt Nelson. I represent the St. Helens Safe and Sober Committee for 2019. I'm one of the co-chairs. I am here at Ginny's suggestion. We have been raising money for our Safe and Sober party since July. We have had 20 different fundraisers so far and raised a substantial amount of money for our senior class members to attend the party. This is my second senior, and I blindly just followed the last time and raised my money and donated my hours, paid my fee. I didn't necessarily realize the extent or the amount of money required to put on a party like this. We set a budget of $27,000, and we're partway there. We're not all the way there. We have had people, either students or family members, volunteer, 74 different individuals volunteering, or for 74 students. We have volunteered over 833 hours in volunteering and fundraising efforts, and that averages out to about 11 and a half hours per student. But we're still short. There are still kids in the class, families in our area that even a $50 fee to help offset the cost of the party is difficult for them. And so I know that the council supports the kids in the area for safe and productive events, and that's what we're trying to do for these kids. This is their last event before they head off into the real world to become adults, and we want to send them off with something special, something for them to spend with each other, that they'll remember, because in reality, this is really the last time they're all going to be together in this group. It doesn't matter if they're trying to get together in 5 years, 10 years, 25 years. Classmates can't make it. Classmates pass away. This group will never be together again in this capacity. And so in looking at the statistics for our school district, 34% of our kids are eligible for free or reduced lunch. We have provided as many opportunities as we can for them to volunteer, reduce their fee, but we're coming down to the end of it. Graduation is 1 month and 2 days or 3 days away, and there's still kids out there who are just struggling. You know, they're working, but they're also working to help pay their families' bills and pay their own fees and different things. Yeah. And so my presence here is just to see if at some point the council would be able to sponsor 10 kids. It's $50 a piece, and that would relieve the burden for those kids. I have requests out all over town, so I've asked the county commissioners, I've asked the volunteer,
Microphone.
and that's exactly it.
We wouldn't want that to be the only reason why somebody didn't come.
Exactly, and we have said that from the very beginning, that no child will be denied access to this event if they can't afford it. We will figure out a way to do it, hence all the extra fundraising and stuff like that. But we do have kids who haven't been able to participate in any way because they work on weekends, or they have a heavier burden at home than, some other kids. And so if we have a way to provide full or partial sponsorships for these kids, it would be very much appreciated.
So I would be curious to know, I would like to actually see about maybe even sponsoring 20 kids. But make sure that you get emails to the people that actually meet the qualifications of the lunch program or whatever.
Yeah.
And make sure that they definitely know that the city council wants to support them.
Absolutely, We've been working with Jennifer at the school district, who works with the homeless kids and and some of the low income programs, and
Yeah.
she's been helping us facilitate some of that stuff too. It's just sometimes hard to, draw those kids out and
Yep.
and make sure that they know in a confidential way that we're here to support them and that sort of thing.
I know 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, there's a homeless seminar at the library, and there was confirmed at that point in time 37 kids at the high school that were homeless, that were bouncing couch to couch.
Yep.
Those are the people I want to reach out to.
Yep, absolutely.
In the past, what was the percentage of kids who participated in this program compared to the kids who are graduating?
Roughly 50%. So we have 224 kids that were on the roster at the beginning of the year. Some have already passed on graduation, or they, have made other arrangements. We're hoping to have more than half. We would love to have 120 kids register.
Yeah.
We're already up almost 80. So we have a really good firm number, and now it's just those kids who are struggling. I get messages almost daily. I go every Friday to talk to kids about different opportunities of how they can raise the money or how we can help them out. And a lot of them is, I haven't had the time, or I talked to one girl, she was all ready to do it, and then she lost contact with her father, who promised to pay the fee, and now she's really worried 5 weeks out that she doesn't, have that. And so it's about taking that fear away and that. So yeah, I would love 120. So we're almost there.
Got their funds, right, Matt?
I'm going to move that we donate $1,000 to the cause.
I cannot vote.
What do you guys want to second it?
Second?
Okay. Discussion? Councilor Topaz, do you have anything to say? Here, Mike, Steve.
Back in the old days, before we had these type programs, we used to take dead kids off the road. I don't see any reason why we should not.
Okay. Okay, so there's been a motion made and seconded to approve a $1,000 donation to Safe and Sober graduating party of 2019. Wow. All in favor? Aye. And Councilor Carlson abstained.
Thank you guys very
Yep.
much.
Thank you. Okay. Presentation of check to South Columbia County Chamber of Commerce. Simon Date. Whoa, it's a big check. Matt, why don't you do it? Go ahead. You're the money man. All right.
And make sure before he leaves that he takes that with him.
That's the real check?
No, that's some for something else.
Wow.
So we know all the hard work that the chamber has been doing lately, and we have toured your facility. We understand you need upgrades. You have a little bit of upgrades, and we know this isn't all the money that you need, but this is definitely a good start. Yes. Can you sign it? Yeah.
Simon. Take the big one in the bank with you.
Hold on, take the big one, eh?
And Simon, this was mail for you.
Secret.
Well, it was already written up here, but I put run it again down there and signed it.
Oh, that's good.
So can I get all the council to come up?
Come on, council. All the way over there. Do not argue with Crystal, you know that by now.
This side?
We can be together.
Okay, short one's in the middle, I guess.
You gotta even it out on the other side, Doug.
All right. Appreciate it.
Really good.
Wednesday.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Appreciate all your hard work.
Oh, you're fantastic.
Matt. Okay, discussion with Roger Conca about farmers market on riverfront property. Roger approached us a meeting ago about, come on up, Roger.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
My name's Roger Conga.
Hey, Roger. So we thought this was a really good idea. We know we have a festival street that we're planning in the development, and we definitely have some riverfront property that we could start utilizing now. And I think this is a discussion that really haven't talked to Roger prior to this, just so the council knows. But we wanted to further this discussion. And I also understand that Robert grows mushrooms, and I really want to find out more about that on a personal level.
Right.
So, definitely would like to be able to let people introduce their products that they grow locally to our community. We are 1/4 of Columbia County here in St. Helens. There's definitely probably the biggest marketplace in Columbia County would be here. And it's an awesome venue. Other thoughts from the council and discussion?
I was just wondering if you had, given that it's been a couple weeks since we spoke, if you've started working on a vendor list.
I have been working on it, and then I'm really hoping we can get the location, because then I'm going to recruit these next couple weekends. I have some really good farms in mind that do the Portland Farmers Market, but I'm pretty sure they would be able to bring a truck here, especially if they could, if they could sell it on their truck on the riverfront, which
Yeah.
I think that's the possibility there.
One, I've heard both positive from local people that do local artisan craftsmen, but I've also heard concerns about
But
just
there won't be crafts,
no crafts.
no crafts.
Oh, so there's
That's
just
the downfall of all farmers markets. You can go to the Scappoose Farmers Market and
but
and
just
check it out.
just to see what the rules would be and what we set a precedent for using the property. We want to make sure that we're being consistent with everyone
Yes.
as far as access and parking and availability of amenities, because you're going to need electricity. There's just different things that have to happen out there that involve staff for a Saturday.
Yep.
And so that's my concern, is the location and how we minimize the impact to staff.
Well,
Not
I
that
think we
staff
could
don't
hold
wanna
it. I
help.
think we wouldn't necessarily need electricity. We could, and usually at the farmers markets I've done, if you're sort of responsible for that yourself if you want to use any, with a little.
With a gas generator or something.
Yeah, something that's, silent.
Right.
but,
My concern is that if they use the veneer property or the waterfront property, someone's got to open a gate. And if they use the parking lot out here, someone's got to close the street.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out, is to nail down the locations that he suggested as far as options of where he could be.
So a question for Sue would be, our on-call personnel that we have, which is -1, but hopefully will bounce up to, yes. Would that person be available to unlock a gate?
Yeah, absolutely. They've done that before in the past, so it would just depend on if there would be additional staff needed to, later in the day, maybe trash. Also, somebody would have to come back in to potentially close the gates.
Yep.
Pick up any cones or any blockades or anything that was in the street. They may, depending on the nature of what is necessary, they may need to set things up actually the night before, which is outside the time frame of somebody that would normally come in the morning to unlock gates, or somebody has to come through town every single day, but that's usually done in the morning before noon.
With the parameter of that his market is like from 10 to 2, that would work.
9
And so they
to
would-
2, and
Yeah, so they'd set up in the morning after,
Yeah.
sometime after 7, and they'd be out of there by 4.
and
Yeah, so
we
it would
would
just be a
have
matter
we
of
would
somebody
have
coming
plenty of volunteers, and in fact, somebody could. I mean, one of us could open the gate. We're not going to,
Yeah, it's
and
not,
open
it's
and close
not
it.
that I'm not worried about you, but literally in the time that I've been on this council, we left the gate open for a half an hour, and somebody went out there and parked an RV.
Yep.
Oh
And
no,
we
no,
couldn't
I
find
them to
them.
remove
We
it.
couldn't find them.
Yeah, and
We
so I
couldn't
mean, that's,
find them.
you
no,
know,
I
interesting.
understand that, and
trying
it
to
would
keep
be
it
a matter of we would, when the market started, we'd open the gate and then close it. I mean that's
Yeah, we just try to keep things safe. That's what
that's what
staff's
farmers
about.
are used to,
Yeah.
closing the barn door when they leave. But
Are there concerns from staff?
Jacob, do you have any concerns on this? Any from your city planning? Just
Matt Brown, Finance Director. It's the one thing would be, I don't recall the city opening up for private entities, and so one of the things to think about is how you're going to manage that once you open that door. And so that's a general thing. And another thing in regards to the development code is the way our code deals with temporary uses. And I know we've used it for city-sponsored events, community events, and those are kind of a wash in that regard. But I know before, when people have wanted to have farmers markets on other property, we said, okay, just need a temporary use permit. And it's just a way to say, okay, this is okay for this land. The thing about the temporary use permit is it's intended to be limiting. So, for example, you're supposed to have 2 per calendar year and stuff like that. And that may be the way to manage the private request to use the property. But it's probably a discussion to have internally and on how we would deal with that. So it's not necessarily a roadblock, but it's
so
one of the...
basically we kind of do that, especially if we wanted to do a temporary to see how this started, the avenue you were just discussing, where we actually do that internally and maybe come up with some stipulations as far as occupational permit or what do you call it?
Temporary use permit.
Temporary use permit, yes. Amongst us, because I think this is a great concept. I really, really do. That's why I wanted to talk to you more about it. I think as this, especially the waterfront development grows, we have a festival street that was kind of, in mind, designed for exactly this type of activity.
Yes.
I've done farmers markets for over 25 years in 3 states, and this is the best location I've
It is
ever seen.
beautiful, isn't
It's
it?
by far.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. And then I like the extra space where when there are other events, we don't have a problem of moving off to the side or getting.
And they're not going to do. They're going to stick strictly to food. So I think it's going to enhance business down here, as far as it's fresh, restaurants. And if you want to go to the secondhand store and buy something, you never know,
I mean, it certainly fits the Main Street strategy in creating life in
Yep.
the downtown.
Yes.
And we're going to promote it. We do the Portland Farmers Market's our main one, and the main complaint there, it's so crowded, it's hard to shop. So we're going to promote coming to St. Helens and
Yeah.
enjoying the
Is
whatever
this,
else St.
is
Helens.
this something we can get together with and discuss? You and Jenny can probably come up with a few good ideas of far as, and maybe, can we do it today, or is it something you want to discuss internally for a little bit before we act on it?
Well, I think we definitely need to get John involved, because the other question is, insurance and liability and how you deal with that, which is usually beyond the scope of the temporary use permit itself.
Yep.
One question that I had just in the onset was, if we're gonna do this and open up that property for a farmer's market, I would want it to be limited to the vendors only, and I want to keep their customers parked on the regular streets. I don't want to worry about having the back road open and having people coming in and out all over the place.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Just for the
there would be no, just farmers. It would be ideal if we could sell out of our trucks, and then everybody else,
Customers would be parked on the
they would be
street.
parking, and then we wouldn't permit them to drive while the market was
Right.
was open. They're parked. The market's open.
Yeah,
and
because
they
it's
can- they
it's
can
not
park
a
and leave.
parking lot. It's not prepped for
Oh, no,
unsupervised
no,
parking.
it's,
There's always a attendant when we do parking out there. There's always monitors.
So you don't want to have a farmer's market / drifter, car drifting
Not so much.
event?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So Roger, let me ask you, what kind of date are you looking to try to start? Because I know, people are just starting to plant.
Well, I would love to do it on June 8th is my temporary
June 8th?
temporary. What's that?
You gotta be out there for those strawberries.
Oh yeah, there would be, and then some of the vendors I'll be recruiting with. They're pretty much year round, and there's an amazing display of produce right now at the Portland Farmers Market. It's just, and I think we can have that here at St. Helens, and it'll just be a wonderful place to shop and what I really like about not only the location and the view and everything, there's so much activity for families to do in the neighborhood. So I think it'll be kind of a Saturday. They'll come to St. Helens for shopping and
That'd be
playing,
awesome.
going to the video store.
I think to just address the code issues, the safety issues, and the insurance.
And then how
The
long?
farmers market would have their own insurance,
Right.
of course.
June 8th, 9 to, what were you going?
9 to 2.
9 to 2. And then what would be, how long would you want it to run for? Month
Well,
and a half,
eventually,
2 months?
I'd like to have a year-round farmers market, but I would say tentatively thinking of Thanksgiving, but then I'm thinking that the Holly Farm is going to be a vendor, and man, maybe we should
Martin
go
and Sally
to
back there.
we should go to Christmas. That I think that would be wonderful to have all that. Just
Well, that's something we can invite.
piles of
Well, that's
holly and-
definitely something we can invite back for our potentially around our Christmas ship stuff too. So we're open to that.
Ooh, that's
thing,
right.
too.
I forgot about
Yeah.
the Christmas ship. So,
So
wow.
and they've been local wreath makers for a long time out there. And
I think leaving it open and being flexible about location and dates and sizes, because the city already has a calendar of events.
Yeah, so I would definitely know that the weekend of the 4th would probably be a no go.
Because we're using all the space
on that
there.
weekend. That weekend only, but I don't see other.
Oh, is that the
weekends.
4th of July?
That weekend, yes. Because we have tourism. See, we also have tourism going on.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just you; it's our own stuff we got going on. And then in October we have Halloween Town the whole month. So that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, I think if canceling the
So the
4th
the-
of July
the
would
6th
would
the
work.
July 6th couldn't happen. That's a Saturday.
Yeah.
July 6th.
But I think we would really be an asset to Halloween Town if there would be a spot for us.
Oh,
somewhere there.
that could potentially, but that'd be a vendor. That would be you doing with the tourism and then becoming actually a vendor. Okay, which absolutely could happen. but it's
we would be a vendor at the
you'd have to be a vendor at the Halloween Town through
but we could
E2C.
keep our kind of same sort of location.
Well, we're trying to work with you right now to get it going.
Okay,
so
okay.
That's what we're trying to do
got you.
here.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that would work out.
Yes. Yep.
And then just if
So, do you guys think we could put something together in a couple weeks? Maybe 3 weeks? They need time to advertise. June 8th.
Probably, we'd probably want to rope John in it and get Brian's input and maybe Public Works and.
Well, I know it's been in the public eye a couple meetings now, and I think we definitely. I know it had some support from a few people I talked to about it. So I think we're on our way to trying to make it happen because I think it's a good idea. We just got to figure out dates and make sure with our staff that we're dotting our T's crossing our T's and dotting our I's on this whole thing. Okay.
Right. Yeah. No, it sounds good to me.
Yeah.
That,
Yep. We're gonna.
Would you want me at a meeting or anything like that, or
maybe potentially? And I have your number.
You got my number. I can pretty good any day of the week. Friday's not a good day for me. But,
Any other questions from the council? I know I kind of overtook that discussion. I apologize.
John's back when? Monday.
Yeah.
So maybe, get the questions together and have a sit down with John when he comes back. Because I'm sure probably every department has concerns or issues.
Yeah,
and if we kind of all put together a list, we can hit that and then contact.
Let's don't complicate it. Let's try to make it.
Yeah,
happen.
make a list so we're ready to go. By all means, answer the questions, but we can. It's only Wednesday. We've got 3 days to kind of figure out how things might work, and then just flush it out with John when he gets back.
The other thing that comes up with some of these other events, speaking now of the 4th of July, alternate locations for the farmers market, since the waterfront locations we pretty well got filled up.
Mm-hmm.
But the farmers market's still in St. Helens someplace.
Yeah. That could be, that could be part of our discussion. Absolutely.
I kind of like around the feed store. I know it's going to a what is it?
Food bank.
Yeah.
Food bank, but I thought that was because there's a lot of room around the perimeter, and then we could donate food to the food bank.
And I'm not trying to cut ourself out of the networking, but that might even be where you end up in October because they have that Harvest Festival up there at the Catholic Church. That might be a better place to approach because I think they do a street closure on that.
Yeah,
Did they
St.
apply for a
Frederick's
street closure on that? On their big event. So, and it's 2 days long.
Yeah.
So, and that is a harvest festival.
So the good news is we got a guy here who is cognizant of a lot of activities that are going on, and so what we need is a good dialogue between the council and you, so that there's opportunities that don't slip through our fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's
Case in
good.
point, Halloween Town, get your pumpkins ready.
Well, I've already got plans for lots of pumpkins, and I'm going to encourage other farmers. I say, hey, we're going to get rich on pumpkins, and maybe we can take December off.
All right, Roger. I think it was a good discussion, and I think we're well on our way. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And did you have a question on mushrooms? I've got them all.
I will call you personally. I love that you say you can promote the morel mushrooms with cardboard. I think is what I heard you say.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm doing stuff right now where I'm doing some controlled burns, trying to keep them under control, and then I mulch with cardboard. And I think I'm right on the threshold. I mean, it works for me sometimes,
Yeah.
but I think I'm on the threshold of figuring it out where I can grow massive amounts on a consistent basis.
We'll be talking.
I'm pretty excited about that.
I love morel mushrooms.
Hey, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you. Yep. Okay, now we're going to review If I Were Mayor student contest entries. So we've got them over here.
The only thing I didn't understand, it says one person's not eligible. Did you see the packet? Oh. The packet states on here, it says, unfortunately, the student who has submitted this poster does not meet the qualifications, so it's just this one.
This one does not meet the qualifications.
No, the one below it. That one.
That one does not meet the qualifications.
Okay, so it's just this one.
So we only have one.
Right.
Makes it pretty easy to vote.
I think we got a winner.
So the other person was too old for that kind of submission? You don't know.
Yeah, 45 is too old for that.
It's a good job, though, Rick.
This was Judy Anderson,
Giovanna, yeah.
Anderson, and she did one last year too.
She has, and her mom and her are aware that she's too young. She doesn't meet the qualifications for the state. But we,
Look at this, you guys. This is
she did a fantastic job.
What a great one.
state winner, because that last year was really good too.
She's gotten better every year.
Wow.
She's too young.
Too young.
She's too young. She doesn't qualify. It's the state rules, and I think we should definitely let her participate, and she'll get everything like any participant.
If we changed our calendar, maybe she
can't
could
win.
gain a year.
Yeah.
Don't you think you should give her an honorable mention and allow her to at least come have lunch?
Yes.
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think so. At least let her
I
come
don't
have
think-
lunch. Encourage that development of our kids.
Well, we certainly don't have the too young kind of thing for our council. We're all okay there.
You're looking at me again.
Too young. She's too young.
She's third grade. Third grade? Yeah, 'cause you have to be fourth.
Great.
And, I'd be fine with it, but somebody that's older might find out someone younger, and, we don't want to get caught up.
Okay.
Okay, and then essays.
There's just one essay.
Yep. And we have we do not have, we can announce it, but I don't have a name. Because there's only one.
Is her name?
Yeah, her name is redacted.
Yes. Normally I redact them because we have several, but Madeline Clark.
Okay.
Oh, Madeline. She was
Yeah.
second place winner at state last year.
Yes.
And won last year on this. So this will get submitted to state, and we'll see what happens. And this will get submitted to state, and we'll see what happens. Do we have any PowerPoints? No high school students
Oh, no.
applied, so they missed out on $100. That's a
Yes.
PowerPoint presentation together. And lunch with me. So.
I'll go to lunch with you. I couldn't eat that cake.
You'll be invited, Matt.
Okay, well, congratulations
They have
to the
essays
people
that
that actually
grades for.
put forth an effort. They get receiving $100 each. So,
They have their thing.
okay. Oh, we do need ballots, so we need to fill them out so we can be official, so she can get this turned into the state.
Oh. This is the ballot.
Essay. Okay. Councilor Locke, this.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. The essay's behind it. Yes, Giovanna Anderson, make sure that she's definitely invited to have lunch. Okay? Yes. Okay, so now.
Hey, Kathy, can you do the PowerPoint?
Discussion regarding proposed recreation fee. Matt and Shauna.
Awesome, and we brought Ryan here with us today too.
Ryan.
So I just wanted to do a little introduction. I know most of you guys know me already, but my name is Shauna Duggan. I'm the recreation coordinator for the City of St. Helens. I've worked for the City of St. Helens for the past 8 years, but I've been in this position for the last 10 months. I am a St. Helens resident. I've lived here for the past 20 years, and I've raised 3 of my kiddos throughout the St. Helens School District. My last one is graduating this year. I've also been on various recreation boards. I was a president of the soccer league for about 8 years. I've been on baseball, basketball, softball. I've been a Girl Scout, a Boy Scout leader, a team mom. I volunteered for many service groups in the community, and having a need for a recreation program is something that our community has needed for a long time. And so when I was asked to step into this role, it was an honor and something that I've taken
That's
very.
the biggest one out.
very
Don't let the
seriously.
cat's out of the bag. Soul Sisters.
Oh,
come
and
on.
Soul Sisters,
Let's hear
yes.
it. It's
I
Soul
am the-
Sisters. Yeah.
I am the creator of Soul Sisters. So I wanted to share a vision, or the vision that we have for our program and our recreation center. Usually my best work is just winging it, but I wrote some things down to make sure I touched on all the topics. So if you guys have any questions or concerns or comments at the end of this, I would love to answer those.
Okay.
So back in 2018, June 1st is when we launched the recreation program. The center opened on March 1st, 2019, so we're still super new with the recreation center. St. Helens Recreation Program believes a quality recreation center and program is an asset to any community. A well-run community center serves as a thriving hub of activity for youth, families, senior citizens, civic organizations, parks and recreation departments, and more. With so many people dependent on the facility and its personnel, a community center needs outstanding leadership and support resources to be successful. The St. Helens Recreation Program has partnered with many nonprofit organizations, businesses, and individual community members since the program was launched less than a year ago. Partnership development continues as the St. Helens Recreation Program strengthens the collaborations that it has already made and seeks to add new community partners in order to grow and make the program thrive. Current partnerships include the St. Helens Youth Council, Arts and Cultural Commission, St. Helens Library, Columbia City Library, St. Helens School District, Eisen Smith Pool, Columbia County Mental Health, or Columbia Community Mental Health, Columbia Health Services, Northwest Educational Service, Portland Community College, NAMI of Columbia County, the Senior Center, Youth Recreation Leagues, and many more. Partnerships and relationships take time, trust, and effort from both parties to be successful. We attend various meetings, have booths, and take information to inform others about our programs and encourage them to join. We had our first youth league this winter, which was a Pee Wee basketball program. It was kiddos ages 4 to 6. We had 42 kids sign up, and each Saturday we had over 200 people come to our newly opened recreation center. Grandparents traveled from Eugene, from Seattle. We got to speak to all sorts of people. And I really believe with the youth activities, that's what brings in the senior citizens, the adults. They find out about our things. So I think the youth is kind of the target audience only because they bring in the other people to come and see what we have going on there as well. We have employed 14 members of the community to help run the St. Helens Recreation Program. 8 of them are local high school students. We also plan to provide volunteer opportunities for youth and adults. Some of the opportunities will help our underserved youth earn scholarship opportunities for activities. We also have had 30 instructors teach at our facility and our program since the 11 months that it's been in place. We are part of Connect St. Helens. We are part of the Suicide Prevention Task Force. Connect St. Helens and the St. Helens Recreation Program believe feeling disconnected leads to self-destructive behaviors in youth. Being connected leads to strength and resilience. We are in the Lewis and Clark Elementary School daily. We have our SHARP program, which stands for St. Helens After School Recreation Program. We provide homework assistance. We team up with partners. We teach social and emotional learning skills. We have our STEAM program, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. The SHARP program has also been accepted to be a provider for the child and adult care food program. So each day they get what they call a supper, which is like a sandwich, vegetables, fruit, so they get a really well-balanced meal, and they also get a snack as well. So, partnering with the St. Helens School District has helped us assess the needs of the youth in our community. One of our main needs that has been identified is the tween and teen activities. I don't know if you guys heard, but we had over 50 tweens show up to our weekend that we had a few weekends ago. That was up from 8 the previous. And so we can see that there's a need there. And there was 15 teens that showed up. So 65 youth ages 10 through 17 came to our facility that weekend. We also are in the works with the St. Helens Middle School to provide a larger after-school presence. These opportunities are afforded to local youth and their parents. A recreation center provides a place where devoted coaches, teachers, and staff members create an environment of growth and learning for young people. A community recreation center can foster community pride and bring people together. Providing opportunities for interaction, inclusivity, and community learning helps contribute to a safe community and economic development. Maintaining an active lifestyle is a fundamental aspect of a happy and healthy life. Fortunately, the St. Helens Recreation Program doesn't solely cater to young people. We have walking clubs, fitness programs, athletic opportunities, arts and craft classes, and various cultural activities that are made available to adults, seniors, and youth. A recreation facility helps to develop the culture of physical well-being, mental health, and nutritional education. With thoughtful planning for community needs, the St. Helens Recreation Program creates opportunities for all community members, keeping affordability as a high priority for all that we do. We're able to provide opportunities to those on a low or fixed income. Creating partnerships allow other organizations to host events, which Judy Thompson was talking earlier about the mental health fair. That is something that is happening at the Recreation Center this Saturday, and I do have some flyers, and I'd like to personally invite each one of you guys to come and check it out. Let's see here. And by doing that, it strengthens our community, having those partnerships.
Absolutely.
Our goal is not to duplicate programs, but fill gaps, as well as help enhance programs that are already going on. We're able to offer staffing, offer supplies, offer a facility. Those things are huge when it comes to a community like ours. So the St. Helens Recreation Program believes that by partnering with the community that we are stronger together. Thank you. And I was going to let Ryan introduce himself and tell you guys what he does for the program.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Ryan Ward, and so I grew up in this community my whole life. So I went to the schools here, graduated in St. Helens High School in 2016, and currently attending a PCC part-time. I've worked as a head lifeguard for over 4 years at Eisenschmidt Pool, so I have a good connection with them. I'm the high school tennis coach. I just started last year. This is my second year. I've been coaching youth basketball and youth soccer for 3 years. And just recently in October, I started working for the recreation program as the youth program lead. And just in that short time, I've learned and connected with with different people more than I have in the past 20 years living here. So it's been a really cool experience. So I kind of do a lot of different stuff, just kind of whatever is needed. I teach, do different things. But recently, I've been doing a lot of our marketing. And so just last week, I started working on our website. So up here, this is the very beginning. So if you have any recommendations, I'm still learning how to use the software. But so this is our website. We have our different up there. So we have different tabs of different age groups of classes we're doing. Registration. If you want to get involved and volunteer, we have a link for that. So this is just the beginning. So if you have any recommendations, I would love to hear it because I started last week. And then
I like how it's categorized. I like it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've also been working with Crystal on doing a lot of advertising through our social media pages. And I think it's so I give her like a monthly thing, and she can schedule out the post for the month. And it's been helping a lot because our first tween night, we had about 8 kids show up, and then we did a Facebook post, and our next one we had over 50. And so it's same with our youth camps and stuff. we started out our first friendship club. We had like 4 people, and then our last one we had over 35, 33 people. So I think we're just starting to get the hang of our social media and posting and get the hang of that. We've been going to a lot of different community events, and we have booths there. So we go to a lot of school events. We're about to do a big tour for go to each school and present of what's happening. What if you guys want to check out some different stuff. And I think that'll help a lot. I did something similar for the Kids Night Out at the pool, and just showing up to one school's lunch, just telling them that there's a Kids Night Out. Usually we average 80 to 100 people at Kids Night Out. That next one we had 220.
Nice.
So I think going to the schools and talking to everyone's going to be very helpful. We'll be going to the fair. We'll be going to every first Saturday we have a big event, so we'll have booths there. So a lot of community outreach. I'm going to be creating a newsletter soon where if people subscribe, we'll send them out information that's what's happening this month and some stuff that we did the previous month, so they can kind of stay up to date. And then just making a lot of flyers, newspaper ads, banners. We have our recreation catalog, so just starting to learn how to do all of that, and yeah. So thank you.
So I like that you guys partner up with other community partners. I think it's a huge asset to, let's just say, for example, I'm just going to throw this out there. You say you offer something in your own business, that a service, but what we could do potentially for you is say if you would like to offer at a discounted rate, we're going to have the staffing. We'll make sure that we have the door open. You just come in, you do your class for the 45 minutes, which is projected as an hour long. Do your 45 minutes, you leave. You have no open doors, locked doors, waiting for people's parents to show up, pick up their kids. It offers them that, and then they also can get a kid 4 to 5 lessons. If he's interested, he can go to their business, if that's potentially what you wanted to do.
Good idea.
You know, for advancement. You know, it's just a basic course. So I like that aspect of this program, and partnering with other people, businesses, and not competing. I really like what I'm hearing. I need help on Citizens Day. Definitely do. Because June 22nd is coming up fast, and usually I do it in August. And landscaping, we don't start slowing down until about July when the grass starts slowing down. So I'm like thinking, why did I do this to myself? Because I did it to myself because of the 20-year anniversary of the skate park. That's why we changed the date. So that is June 22nd, and I'm also going to talk to Youth Council and hopefully get some help from them too, because it's coming right up. I mean, it's knocking on the door already. I haven't even been to any of the vendors. So, okay, yeah, I'm going to go to Matt. He's still part of the presentation, but he's going to talk about the fee. He's going to talk about the fee part. So.
No, I'm going to not try and focus on the fee part
okay.
at all.
All right, good.
This is more of the storytelling time of the program itself. So, in addition to what Shauna and Ryan said, I wanted to give you a few slides of some information and partnerships that we have had. This is just a small list of the partners that we have currently worked with or are currently planning to work with in the very near future. Some of the people, local businesses that have sponsored activities, cornhole boards, and other events that have helped us kind of get started. So we're definitely looking to grow those partnerships in the community. One thing I did want to mention, though, that I saw when I went into the rec center one day was a little board that Shauna and staff had put together on their own. And it was about the recreation culture and what we want to build here in the community. And there are some key words that jumped out that I wanted to talk to you about. And the first is for this program to be inclusive, to make sure that we're touching basis of every type of person at every level that can be a part of this program. Another word is diverse.
Yep.
We want to make sure that we're able to touch every person. We obviously need it to be entertaining. We want people to enjoy coming to the rec center and have fun. We want people, kids and parents and families, to say what's going on at the rec center that I can get involved in.
I've heard good things about that. I mean, that part, a little bit of social media, I see a lot of people that do attend are like,
Yep.
yeah.
We want to make sure and keep things affordable. We also want to make sure that everything we're doing is part of building a community. We want all of our staff, all of our employees, all of our people that come to the events to be engaging and not be afraid to reach out and say hi to somebody new. We also want our classes to be educational. And that goes for youth and teenagers and adults as well. We want those activities to be hands-on, so we don't want you just sitting behind a desk doing nothing. We want to give you the opportunity to do something new, build something new. And we also want to make sure that we have activities that keep you active. So some of our summer activities, like some of our walk challenges or our walking groups, some of our drop-in sports activities that we have in the summer catalog for soccer and basketball, where we're utilizing some of the facilities at the school district. But most importantly, we want to build a connection. So the culture that the staff created was to create an inclusive environment for educational and affordable activities to thrive in St. Helens as a means of further connecting our community.
I like that.
So that's something that the staff did completely on their own,
I think
Shauna
we
and
gotta get
everybody
that
else.
printed up and put that up.
It's already being printed.
Okay, good.
So I do want to touch on one slide very quickly about the $2 benefits that you are discussing right now and what you get with those $2 benefits. One is Shauna would potentially become a full-time recreation coordinator. We would also hire a part-time recreation lead, so we would have someone like Ryan as a regular part-time employee. It retains our after-school care program that we currently have at its current prices. It expands some of our free activities that we can offer because we already have staff paid for and they're at the rec center, so we're able to keep that center open. With the $2 fee, we would create sort of an in-district and out-of-district rate for St. Helens customers that receive that $2 fee. So if you live within the city limits, you get charged that $2 fee. There would be a discounted rate on any charge for an activity that you would see. We'd also like to have that rec center open as much as we can. It is our goal to use the hell out of that facility, and that's what it's there for.
Yep.
And then we also want to make available the recreation center for rentals, for meetings, nonprofits, business meetings, parties, and other events. There's always opportunities for next year, though, and opportunities, things that we want to grow. So a couple things we're going to focus on in this next year is to grow more partnerships in the community with some of our local businesses, some of our local nonprofits and organizations. We want to grow sponsorships and advertising in our activities guide. This is a big wealth of information and knowledge that gets passed around the entire community. Unfortunately, it costs a pretty penny to put it together and print it and, if possible, mail it out. So looking for sponsorships and advertisements to help pay for that cost is the goal for next year. We also want to grow some of our adult and senior activities. We've started dabbling with some of the adult activities. There's obviously a lot more in the summer programs, but also working with the Senior Center and other organizations and other businesses that can help lead activities and classes for adults and seniors. We also want to include more inclusive programming. So that would be working with some of the organizations that have to deal with some of the issues that some of our teens, our youth, and adults have. So special needs, anything like that, we want to make sure to have activities that are available to everyone. We also want to go and look at some of our program cost opportunities. So this would be things like working with local nonprofits and businesses that want to create sponsorships or scholarships for people. So if we do have an activity that is charging $25 a day for something, that a local business or nonprofit can donate money to the rec program as a scholarship for that child or adult or whoever to be part of that program and not have that hurdle of having to pay it and the parents not having the money.
Yep.
The other thing we want to look at is continue looking at grant opportunities. Obviously, the St. Helens Recreation Program was started with 2 grants that we received. So we will always be looking for those grant opportunities and already are planning on applying for a couple more in this next year. We also want to continue looking at a taxing service district. I'm not sure if any of you are aware or knew of this. And this is not something that's been made public. Last year, I had the opportunity to attend Harvard Kennedy School for a couple classes, and I have one more class to go to complete my public leadership certificate. Part of that class was doing a capstone, and my 2 first classes were based on starting a recreation program. So as part of my capstone, I already had to put together a feasibility study program to what it would cost residents as a taxing service district to combine, as well as looking just at recreation, but also looking at parks and recreation. I'm happy to make this available if you would like to. I will just say that it was created last year, and the expectations and growth of this program has well exceeded, I think, everyone's thoughts and ideas. So there is some revamping that could be done, but this is made available to you if you would like to read it and review it. I'm happy to send that off to you, or print it off if you need a hard copy. The other thing we'd like to look at is creating a Facebook page. We know there's a little hesitation on creating another City of St. Helens Facebook page, much like the police department has and the library page. We feel as a recreation program and its department, and as it grows, we have a tendency and need for putting out more and more information. There's a lot of events going on, and our city page is somewhat limited to how many posts we want to do. So we'd like to look at starting a recreation page solely for us. So the other thing, one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, which is kind of my personal story. So as you can probably guess, that's me. I was a little younger and a little skinnier. But I don't think anybody here in St. Helens knows kind of my background and my personal story. So when I was born, you can't see it in the picture, but my left ear was pretty red. What I had found out later was that I was born with an arterial vascular malformation, an AVM. When I hit puberty, it started to grow. And it was always big and red for majority of my life. When I was a child, I found out I was really good in sports and activities. My parents got me involved in a recreation program locally in my part of town, which is Hillsborough, so Tualatin Hills Parks and Rec and some other programs. And I started joining rec leagues for soccer and basketball. And the friends that I built in those recreation programs were the friends I had in middle school. They were also the friends I had in high school.
Mm-hmm.
They were also the friends that stuck up for me when I had to deal with shitty people. I can honestly say that without a recreation program, I wouldn't be here.
Yep.
So it's very personal to me, especially when I look at that. So and I had
much younger Matt. Look at that.
I don't know if I'm more disturbed about the ear or how I parted my hair. But so in retrospect, I had to go through about 6 years of flying to Denver, Colorado to have surgery on my ear every 6 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And then a final reconstructive surgery at the end to get it to what it is now. But some of the issues and life hurdles are having a recreation program in your community.
Gave you the outlet.
Gave me the outlet.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our current team right now of most of our employees, and we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Just have a comment, and
We did make it out in time on there, so just so you know.
Thanks for asking us for questions after your report. I very much appreciate it. And I do have a comment regarding the arts program. I'm very excited to reach out to our veterans and help facilitate some of their needs for getting involved in artistic endeavors. At the same time, I think I might have shared with you that I went to Lewis and Clark's art therapy, Masters of Art Therapy program, and they do have interns that satellite out to different locations to work on their thesis statement as an intern. So, is there room for that? Is there room to include our veterans in especially art therapy programs or any kind of artistic endeavors? I think it's very much needed. I think it could be a great outlet, and I think the program fits the scope of that. Can you comment? Could I reach out? I mean, is
yes,
something...
please reach out to us. One of my favorite things that I like to do is connect people and hear people's stories. So one of the biggest blessings for me is to be at this recreation center and people just drop in to see, who are you guys? What's going on? And it would make us feel so special to have veterans come in and do programming at our facility. I think that's a wonderful idea. We just got a donation of an art, something that we can hang art on. We got to just pick out what we want. And so art is a big piece of what we are going towards as well. So yes, please reach out to us because I would love to talk to you more about that.
I'll be talking with you then.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I've had some discussions with the school system as well as the library on parts of your program. I've had some very hard questions asked by some of the community about costs. And some of the questions that have come up was about, we'll say, scheduling things, ball fields and so on, all could be under the rec program, including the swimming pool. So we'll say there's some structural administrative programs or possibilities that people have problems with right now. I and Christy Ward have had some discussions over the school system, and we'll, as you know, we're trying to get together for some other things. The biggest complaint I've heard about the rec system, though, is forcing people to pay $2 without being asked politely, or according to some of the old people, having it put on their facilities bill or water bill without being asked, since there had been a promise not to put anything on the water bill. Now, a number of cities do use the water billing system to collect money. I mean, it's a good mechanism. The real question is, we were supposed to be asked that's where we were going to pay, and that's, I think, the biggest problem. We have a big problem with latchkey kids, which has been a problem since the 80s, which has not been addressed at all. So we have a super need for a rec program. We have some discussion with how it's structured. That's not a big deal. That can get solved. The big problem that I'm hearing in this town is the taste of being told you're going to pay $2 on your water bill for this. One of the suggestions that we've had in the council, well, we're going to do this and have a drop dead date on it and then do something else. The something else is how we finance it. And I'd really like a discussion on asking the community to put it on the water bill, and also thoughts on how to structure a better payment program. Some of it, as you've alluded to, is people donating grants, but I think the public acceptance is there. The public willingness to be taxed without being formally asked is our bad step.
I'd like to comment on that, because I was one of the ones who initially felt like Councilor Topaz is feeling and is commenting on about, hey, this is going to be a really hard pill to swallow for a lot of individuals in our community. However, the merits of this program are far outweighing so many kinds of negative concerns that are emanating from our community. And I think one of the issues of talking about this in an open discussion on the council and working through the problem to sunset that date to give us a time period to solve the problem. So a 2-year time interval will allow us, if we keep focused on this through the council agendas and keep discussion items going and keep the public informed on what we're trying to do, I can see this being resolved in the 2-year period that we have. We did 2 years because it's a big problem, and it might involve a public vote. It might involve, at this point, we don't know what it's going to involve, but hopefully it will be solved in that 2-year time period. So I just wanted to comment on what that 2-year time period is. And that water bill, in your utility bill, will be an additional $2 charge. I think that's what we did vote on and what we decided on. And so people will have an opportunity to voice those concerns in our council. So far, we haven't heard very many. And so far that our public, at our public forums, we've heard a tremendous amount of positive remarks regarding the recreation program. I mean, extremely positive. Mm-hmm. So that's just my comment. I just wanted it as a matter of public record and somewhat a rebuttal to Mr. Topaz.
One thing, following up on where we have to study on the sunset thing, there are a number of people who can't afford this, and one of the discussions we're going to have is scholarships for people who can't afford it. It was mentioned how many students can't afford the sober night. They had hard numbers on that, and obviously that's only the senior class. But this hard numbers of people who can't afford it is a real problem in our community, and we've got to be very careful to how we structure that. So we have everybody involved in it, even when they personally can't pay. And that's one of the tough questions of, without mentioning that, saying everybody's going to pay $2, that's an awful hard pill, and a lot of bitterness comes up on that. And I think that's how we introduce this payment system, and what we're going to do with future payment system is a critical point to how successful the community is going to handle this. The need is, I think, larger than you've already described. As you've already pointed out, it's exceeded your expectations by a lot. And having been involved in latchkey programs in other communities back into the 80s, it's a huge problem. And I don't think we should ignore this at all.
Go ahead.
Is that what you presented? Everything you've come to present? Yep. I noticed that a few people have come, and I wondered if they had come to make comments, or if we'd entertain any comments, or if they just came to listen. Because people arrived at the time this was scheduled, and I know that
yes.
It's up to the mayor, but we had public comment at the beginning.
Well,
people came for this.
I think I got a little bit of, I'll try to cover it. I know that I myself have met with Superintendent Stockwell, School Board Member Amos. We have sat down and talked about the program after the last discussion in this council, and I was very upset because of the need. I'm very emotional, like Matt Brown is, about this program. That we have not been deceitful on this $2 fee at all. It's been clear since budget committee of last year. We've had open forums as requested. We've had surveys as requested. This is not secret. I know some people can't afford it. I know some people will just be upset because it's another tax, and I get it. But the overall need of the community, me as a council person, not just mayor, as a council person, feel it is my duty to be, if we were voting today, a yes vote for my constituents, a yes vote today. And I talked to them for quite a while, and they are were a little bit thrown back about that there was even a debate over it because there's such a need. And that at all costs, we need to continue to move forward in partnership with the school. And I think the school district, as Councilor Topaz's concerns, and community mental health and those type of partnerships are going to help identify those people who can't afford it. There's going to be those people who just don't want to pay a tax, Steve. I ain't here to please everybody.
The one thing besides taxes, well, that's the big thing. Nobody likes taxes. Nobody has. I think it's the legal presentation of this tax. As I say, I think the rec program has been needed for 20 years, and I think it's what we're going to end up with is a lot bigger than what we've been presented with. That's not even question. I think it's the methodology of the $2 on the water bill that's the problem. The sunset takes care of that, because then at some point people will have an official way of saying this is what we want to do.
Yes.
But my problem is the water bill presentation now. And that wasn't originally, I should say the sunset was not originally put in the original presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we took care of it with that.
Yes.
But we definitely need, for a number of reasons, a rec program.
So, and in our discussion with myself and Superintendent Stockwell and Amos, was that eventually we would like to see this as its own entity. Maybe it is Parks and Rec. Maybe it's just rec. We don't know. We'd love to see a taxing district. Ultimately, that would be ideal. But we have to control it and form it and coddle it like a little baby and at least get it to a toddler stage before we can turn it loose. It doesn't know how to walk right now, and we're not about to let it go with the need that we're finding in the community.
I think your word control, I think this could run faster than we are thinking about, and I think control is absolutely critical.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is going to take money. Where and how we handle that's a detail. I think really that's the detail we're arguing about, not the fact we need money, not the fact the community needs this program, whether you call it a rec program or whatever. If this is overdue, it's how we describe getting the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's my question.
Yep.
But I think we better be well aware that this could run faster than we're thinking.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'm going to propose that we set a date of fiscal year starts in July, or is it June? Forget, June or July.
So, well, before you set a date of, I'm assuming you're going to set a date of when you would like to see that start or public
actual
hearing?
public hearing, and then
Okay.
we're going to adopt it that work session.
So there's a couple
Or that
things,
regular session.
just a couple housekeeping things that need to happen before you actually pass a resolution.
Okay.
Is I've already reached out to our attorneys to double check our municipal code language, because I believe there's some language that needs to be added for adding additional fees onto the utility bill in addition to water, sewer, storm, and garbage. It's something that I had to go through when I went to the city of Hubbard, and we started a general service fee on the utility bill.
Because we haven't done it before.
Because
That's
you've never
why
done it
we
before.
have to. Yes.
Correct. So there's likely going to
Because a
be
lot of other cities do this.
correct. Many cities do.
Yes.
There is likely a first and second ordinance reading that would need to take place, and then you could have the public hearing and resolution at that time, after the first and second readings.
Okay.
So we could have staff get back to us with how that rolls out.
Yep.
Because obviously on the fly here, you don't have all those dates in your head.
Correct. So I do have our attorneys looking into that ordinance language right now, but you're looking at 2 meetings for at least those first and the second meeting, and then probably the third one. So at the very earliest, you're looking at July probably, potentially in August for doing that public.
And I
forum.
know there's probably some people screaming and yelling right now, shaking their fist, probably saying, no, I can do it better. This is where we're going with it. This is the way it's happening. You need to let the school district and the city work together with other partners, and we're going to let this thing blossom. Okay? Yeah, it could happen. I'm sure there's a million different ways. There's a million different ways to skin a cat, so to speak. This is the way it's going. I think it's a good idea to put a sunset date on the $2 fee. A couple of years from now, I definitely agree with that, but we also are going to need help getting it there. And I see Councilor Kahn was a huge part, and I want to just address that she's in a huge part of getting this up and running. So appreciate you being here. And Kelly, yes, Kelly Smith is here from the school district chair, right? You're the chair, so. This is how passionate that.
Yeah.
See, we never talked. I went to Superintendent and Amos. They're here because they probably talked to maybe Councilor Carlson. And
I think the takeaway for everybody listening or whatever is that this is about collaboration. It's not one person's idea,
Yes.
not one person's mission.
Yes.
This is something we do together.
Absolutely.
For the community, with the community.
Yep. And
That's the lesson. It's not the mayor, it's not me, it's not the school board. We do this together as a community, and maybe we don't have it right today, but we've got the next 2
there are
years
some
to
very
make it
strong
right.
leaders in the community that raised an eyebrow and want to participate, but they're not sure how it looks right now. So more is going to be revealed.
Yeah, I mean, the last 6 months, so many groups and so many people have come forward to say that our kids matter and our future matters. And this is just kind of a manifestation of that wish. Investing in our parks, investing in the rec program, after school, St. Helens Connects, all of that is saying that being number 2 in suicide is not a label we want to be wearing anytime soon and ever again. So it just takes everybody. I appreciate all that.
I apologize for forgetting your name. Ryan, Shauna, Matt, appreciate you guys giving us a very in-depth. Do you have any other comments, Matt?
So just to be clear, my general understanding consensus from you guys is you're okay with me coming back at probably one of the next couple of meetings with the municipal code language and the ordinance.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that passes that night. There's still a process,
Yeah.
and public hearing and everything. And even if you don't pass, you can still pass the ordinance to put the language in the code.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that it's
It has to be.
It's
yes.
correct.
multiple
It gives
part
us-
It's a step.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so my next step will just be you'll see an ordinance on an upcoming
And that's just an ordinance to get it to where it could
to
be.
get it into the municipal
Yeah.
code language.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Thank
we're
you,
still-
Matt.
We're still having a public forum at 5:30 on May 15th.
That was already.
No.
We may want to
Yeah, let's scrub
wanna
that.
push
because we
that
don't
off?
have the language, yes, because I
Okay.
didn't realize that it was going to be this. Can we scrub that?
You're the mayor?
Yes, I want to.
Is that the summer guide you have there?
That is, we just came in a box
You bring hard
at lunchtime,
copies?
so they're going to Ryan's
That'd be
going to hand
great.
out copies to you. It's available online as well as we'll put it in all the public facilities and a few other local businesses and
Yeah, there's,
schools and all that stuff.
Couple, people that you've worked with
Ryan,
a little bit,
thank
but
you for-
people
thank you for
definitely
your help,
are
yes.
wanting to have
Yep.
regular appearances in your program. So I know there's a lot more partnership opportunities out there. Happy birthday late, Shauna.
Did I cover it? Good? Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Okay, now we're going to get a review of the RFP of the Food Bank Architectural and Engineering Design Service by Jenny. This is a big deal, big block grant, big deal. Yep.
Yes. So, as a reminder, this is a partnership between the Columbia Pacific Food Bank, us, and the state of Oregon through their Columbia community development block grant program. We received 1.5 million for renovations to the former Feed and Seed building at 1421 Columbia Boulevard for relocation of the St. Helens Food Pantry and the regional distribution network for the food bank. So this RFP is to find the architect and design and engineering firm to do those renovations or to plan for those renovations. This is sort of an FYI item. You don't have to formally authorize this because technically it's going to be a partnership with the food bank. We're just kind of the grant. We got the money.
We're the process.
Yeah, exactly.
The go through process.
The food bank is not eligible for this grant, so we're working with them on through that. So hopefully we're going to issue this month and then close in June. And then once we get our drawings, we'll hire the construction firm and start to see movement on that project.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
12,500 square foot building.
Yeah, I haven't done a tour yet. I really want to see it. Because from the road, it doesn't look that big.
You realize they're going to be
huge.
10,000 square foot bigger than what they are right now?
Yeah, and the facility they're operating right now is the smallest of its kind in the state.
Oh.
And they not only are the food pantry, so they give out boxes of food to St. Helens, but they're also the distribution center for the region.
Wow.
Yeah, they're moving from a closet to a warehouse.
And I guess this is going to allow them capacity to store fresh produce, which before they couldn't.
Right.
They can also do repack, so they can have their volunteers get bulk produce and then repack, which is something they don't have capacity for now. I mean, this is going to radically change the operations of the food bank.
Yeah, the thing
For the
I
better.
didn't realize that one of the volunteers shared with me is they actually, in their current location, are limited how many volunteers they can take.
Yeah, there's
And-
more
and
people
lots
that
of people
want
to help, but we don't have room.
Exactly.
And they're not fully accessible.
Yep.
And so that's pretty sad when you have a community that wants to help you, but you don't have the building for it.
Especially when a majority of their clientele is disabled too. It's not an
Just-
accessible
or just
building.
seniors.
Yeah.
Just seniors. That hill would be difficult for a senior.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing that's going to happen at the food bank is they're going to have a kitchen
Yep.
and teach people how to cook. A lot of the people who use the food bank look at food and don't know how to prepare it, which is sad.
Yeah, you're absolutely. They're gonna have a commercial kitchen for classes.
So that's, here it is, what do I do with it?
Mhm.
And it's amazing how many people do not know how to do the simplest thing, and that's going to be added.
It's also better for disaster preparedness too, because they can be a shelter and a food storage facility for natural disasters.
Super.
Yeah.
Just get the hay off the rafters. They have some strange things back there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Good job. Anything else to add to that report? Because it's still you and Sue, it looks
Yeah,
like, after this.
after
So,
you.
yes.
Yeah. Nothing else there. unless you
Okay,
have
so now let's move on to Godfrey Park Master Plan presentation.
Awesome. So I'm going to kind of start this off and then hand it off to Sue. But this is on the agenda because last time you guys talked about this at your last council meeting. There were some unanswered questions, and both Sue and I were out. So we're pretty involved in this project, and so we just thought we would talk about it again.
This is not the right presentation,
No.
right? Okay. I was like, I don't think
That's
Godfrey
the
is
6
housing.
o'clock meeting.
Kathy's always trying to get ahead schedule,
We don't need that misprint, Godfrey Park housing. We don't need that.
Oh, it's okay. I can start while she's finding that. So I wanted to back up and first talk about what a nature playground is, because I think just having listened to the council meeting, there's some confusion. So very basically, a nature playground is defined as a space with as few man-made components as possible. So we use native plants, hills, trees, sticks, stones, water, sand, boulders, stumps, things like that. And the intent of a nature playground is to bring people back to nature, kids included. So these are kind of popping up all over the United States. They've been really popular in Europe, and it's just now kind of the movement is starting in the U.S. And this is partly fueled by the message that kids are facing a nature deficit disorder. Modern childhoods don't involve as much outside play as they once did because of the lure of technology, screen time, overscheduling of structured activities, restricted access to natural areas, and the parental fear of playing outdoors unsupervised, either natural risks or other dangers. So the growing trend in this type of playground is to harness the allure of nature, but in a safe, controlled environment. So that's the idea. And playing outside doesn't just give kids exercise. Research shows that it helps inspire creativity. It helps with coordination and problem solving. It cuts down on stress and frustration that kids might have. It teaches them to assess risks and test the limits of their abilities. That's kind of like climbing on boulders. You kind of learn your strengths and weaknesses. And kids who play outside learn to love nature. So it's for all of these reasons that the statewide comprehensive outdoor recreation plan showed through their research of Columbia County residents that a nature playground was a need out here. And so when we were preparing our parks and master plan, I looked at that data and said, wow, we should have a nature park in St. Helens. We would be the only one in the region. We could attract people regionally to this new asset. And what a better park than Godfrey, which is already kind of a forest if you've been there. There's a lot of mature trees, and there's some really cool topography we could utilize. So that's the basis of this project. Let's see.
I had a couple questions.
Sure.
Is the questions at the end or questions anytime?
Well, I think we might address some of them when Sue starts talking about what this toolkit is intended for, and then maybe some maintenance concerns that were brought up at the last meeting. So let's get to the end and then questions. Yeah, thank you. So backing up to this plan too. So since nature parks or nature playgrounds are new to St. Helens, we decided to enlist the help of experts, people who have planned these in other communities. And that's what Matt presented, this design and how it's kind of built into different rooms. This design also went before the Parks Commission, and they had a number of really awesome suggestions to add, one of which is a designated pet area, not to be confused with a pets off-leash area, but a pet area where pets could relieve themselves and have it be marked. And that would prevent other areas being used for that purpose. And they also had a recommendation for that location, and staff felt that that was a good idea. The other thing is the horseshoe pits out there don't have a scorekeeping ability, and I guess that's common. So for the ones that still remain, we were going to add a scorekeeper. So really good comments from the Parks Commission. Overall, really supportive of the design and excited to see it implemented.
So are you going to put a plastic like 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
For the,
and then
for
if
the horseshoe?
Yeah.
Calculator, 5-ply.
Yeah. We might be able to make one too.
I'm sorry, I jumped in there.
No, we were
Continue
looking
on.
online at like purchasing one on Amazon or something like that to put out there. So that's kind of the background and the kind of the foundation of why we're here. And then Sue has some comments about maintenance.
Yeah, just some general comments. So we looked at this, and I went over the whole plan with Thad, and he's in total support of this. And one of the things that we look at, a lot of the natural materials that are there would be something that would be more or less permanently installed. The large rocks, the climbing rocks and things, wouldn't be something that the kids would be able to move because they're going to be large. And some of the features that they showed in the design elements with the labyrinth, they were kind of showing some smaller materials in there, which probably could be more easily moved around. But those are, like Jenny mentioned, just a toolkit. It's just ideas, something to show the possibilities of those particular areas in those particular rooms. So what we would install would be something maybe a little bit larger and more of a permanent type of installation, and something that maybe we could change up every once in a while so they wouldn't get bored with it. But a simplified version of what they were showing. They kind of showed an elaborate
They did.
maize.
They did, and I was like,
which was really, really nice.
weeds growing up everywhere, and I'm thinking,
Right.
no.
Right.
This was that was the comment because
Yes.
that labyrinth room.
Yes.
I have visited 2 of those, and they're done with contrasting bricks.
Yes.
And so then there's no maintenance.
Exactly. And there would be other ways to do those. Now, we want to try to keep the materials as natural as possible. So, but those are things that can be changed out at later dates. We can start with something simple. The performance room with the little log ring, those are things that obviously we have those materials available to us, so it would be easy to set that up, and then they would be staked in, so they wouldn't be able to just roll over, or people wouldn't be able to pick them up and move them to other places. So, so those would be staked in. There wasn't any red flags that went up with the park staff as far as maintenance, and because they're having to do general maintenance in the park now anyway, that really wouldn't change. Yes, eventually they'd have to change out some of the natural wood elements because over time that's going to deteriorate, but it's not something that's going to have to be maintained on a weekly or probably not even a monthly basis. A little bit more weed control, but again, depending on how it's set up to begin with, we can work on putting in something that will be a weed deterrent in those areas so that we're not dealing with that on a constant basis. And just like any park, any amenity that you put into a park is going to have some maintenance. But being that there's such natural elements and virtually no man-made items, the swings, the climbing structure would be man-made, but most of the materials we really do want to use things from nature, and that would be very, very low maintenance. So everybody is in good support of this project. We think that this is the perfect location for structures and the different type of elements that are shown in this plan.
One thing I wanted to add too is about the actual installation and implementation. So because they're kind of in rooms, we can stagger installation according to capacity that our public works staff has. So there's no rush to get it all done at once. And there's also some trial and error in this. This is the first time we're working on something like this. So if we do something with the performance room and we find, it's not quite working as intended, we can alter it.
Yeah.
So it's
easily modified.
Interactive. It's going to have to be fluid.
Mm-hmm.
The one real problem was in the first presentation that I heard was a great part of the park, the gorge, ditch, whatever you want to call it, was not being used. If you're talking about nature, it's a fantastic place down there. There's obviously a road coming in from West 3rd Street, or I guess it's
4th.
No, 3rd Street.
Oh, okay.
Where we brought in heavy equipment to do the excavation work for the water, which is easily going down. Right now, you'd have to rake out some of the rocks, but that would allow the kids to be into where the water is. The goats took care of a lot of the brush, and most of the garbage that was found in the park was thrown in from the neighbors, not from the road. There's a couple of deer trails on the north side of the gulch, which are a little difficult, but if you had a zigzag or a switchback path, you could easily walk into it. But that whole area was actually neglected as far as part of the nature.
So Mr. Topaz has a good notion, and the notion is to open up a bit of an area, for kids to play with. What I would propose is wait and see if there is any kind of, but don't open it up right now. I mean, it would be foolhardy to do that because there are so many problems down there, and let's give it a little time to digest and then see what the Parks Commission has to say about it once they visit it, once they see it in operation. We want to expand it to that canyon. Well, so be it. okay, then we possibly could. But I know that there's a lot of problems there, and those would be brought up in Parks Commission and public testimony and people who use the park. So to try and open that up now,
Yeah, there'd also be a little bit of a concern because part of the permit that we got in order to do the stormwater project through there was to try to restore that to a more natural state. So there are large, tall Gabion rock basket dams all the way across the bottom of that, making access through the bottom of that area very difficult. And we also were required to replant the entire area through that ravine with natural vegetation, which has to survive. We have to guarantee its survival. So to bring people down into the area could be problematic as far as having them trample and kill some of that vegetation, which then starts the erosion process, which then starts the sediment buildup again, and we end up with a lot of the same issues that we had before. So those are things that we were required to address with our stormwater permit.
and I thought about this area as well when I watch national news and watch all the flooding that's happening with flash floods and whatever.
And-
I don't know what the CFS is,
Yes.
the water flow through that area is on a huge storm.
Yeah, it can
But
be
I can imagine it would be very dangerous at times.
That particular area drains 5 major drainage basins, and it's about a third of the city's stormwater flow goes through that area. So that would be a concern, is having somebody down there when water came up potentially rapidly.
Well, being
So
down
there-
in there when there's heavy flow, so far I've not seen any of the water overtop your stone dams. Right now, some of the stone dams are being plugged up with leaves. We also have the entrance to that tunnel that goes under St. Helens, Columbia Boulevard and 4th Street, where the kids used to go catch bats. That end has to be cleaned up and somehow protected so we don't have people going in. As you know, there's a bunch of manholes. We've got the undermining of the large storm drain coming off 4th Street. You've got a pile of rock that the water goes under. We do have some erosion problems. The deer are beating up the bottom as much as anybody. I wouldn't worry about the natural plantings being beaten up by people. I think the deer will get ahead of you on that. So,
Councilor Carlson, I know you had a comment too.
I did. I don't have the list of capital improvements. I just would hope that one of the barriers to younger kids playing there is lack of a water source and lack of a restroom. I would hope that would be on the plan before we provide places for toddlers to play.
I think there is a water faucet
It's
there.
never been on. In all the time I've walked that street, I've never had it work when I wanted to drink. So I don't know, maybe I
We
was
can look
asking
into
for a drink early or
Yeah.
at the wrong
But-
time of year.
You also notice on the plan there is next to 4th Street, kind of near the entrance there. There's a restroom. Yeah, and we want to utilize the same. We really like the Gray Cliffs
Right.
restroom. We
I
want to
knew you had that, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
see for timing wise, because I asked other people, because that is my neighborhood park, the
Yeah.
park closest to my house.
Yeah.
And I would hope that just timing is everything.
Yeah.
So you don't take away existing swings and an existing slide.
Oh,
Until
sure.
you're ready to build something else.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you don't put in toddler play until you have the amenities that take care of a toddler.
Sure. And I can't guarantee, I think the amenities are going in before the restroom. There just isn't the funding for a restroom. So part of the reason why this was a near-term improvement for the natural playground
Because we
stuff
have
is
supplies.
and because it's a lower cost alternative to structured play. So this project is going to cost us probably a third of what a restroom would cost. So if you just did the restroom, then you couldn't do the playground.
Is the bank side included in this project, or is that a different plan?
The banks. Oh, embankment slide?
Yes.
Yes, it is part of this.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the other thing that maybe disclosed in case anybody didn't know. I have a son that's on the spectrum, so that park is the most spectrum friendly part.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so when you take out the slide and you take out big swings and you give him rocks to sit on, not a happy camper.
Yeah, no.
So just
Point
and I
taken.
mean, I thought he was unique, and the at CCMH, they said there are hundreds of kids just like my son that live in this community that need those tools.
No, I think that hill
help.
is an awesome place for a
Yeah,
slide.
so I just want to
really
make sure
do.
that's all
Yeah.
part of the
I like that part
same
of it.
deal.
Just so you know, the park supervisor Thad was like, "We should do a bigger slide than they're suggesting."
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So yeah,
Let's do it.
Have you seen the one in Astoria?
No, but I know that it
I was
brought-
afraid
brought up-
only
yeah.
only the staff under 30 were willing to do it. I said, I'm too old for that kind of slide.
Matt did the slide out there now, the Godfrey slide, or the park out there. Yeah,
I'd like to make a motion we authorize.
I don't have the right kind of
I'd like to
rear
make a
end.
motion we authorize a larger swing or larger slide than recommended.
I think the movement, whether it's
I get
nature
a
play,
second?
but the movement
Exactly.
across the nation is, it's like full accessibility, whether it's bathroom or play or picnics.
Sure.
We want to make sure that somebody with a cane, somebody with a gait issue, somebody with autism
Could it be?
could all use the park.
How many people will be on the slide at the same time as currently?
Well, if you look at the photo, they have kind of a wider slide
Yeah.
suggested. Some of them are dual slides where there's a rail in the middle.
That's what they.
But obviously, we haven't purchased it yet.
I think a dual slide and longer. I think bigger.
Well,
Okay.
Back in the old days, that's what we would use the canyon for, is to put a slide all the way into the bottom of the canyon.
Well, we used to use Visqueen and water and just phew.
There you go. We could have that set up this weekend.
Well, you can always do a smaller one in the
Slip
beginning
inside.
and then step it up, when it's ready, and you can build a longer slide so people have the option of
Oh
what
no,
slide
we're ready.
and-
We're ready for the long one.
I really think this has potential to be kind of a tourist draw too, since it's the only one in the region.
Now, is this just as follow-up question? Just people that sell playground equipment are in it to sell playground equipment,
Mhm.
but that's not who gave us this idea. We had some other consultant come up with this idea.
Yeah. So they did work with someone who makes natural playground equipment, but Mackenzie is the one who did the design. And it's good that we have one tied to actual equipment that exists. I mean, I think that coordination was key.
They did a park. The name escapes me, and it was a tribute to someone with special needs near Emmanuel Hospital. And they've added these nature features with the all play features in a park that has big trees.
Is it Harper?
Yes.
Holiday Park?
Yeah, it's Harper Park.
Yeah, I've totally
yeah,
been to
and
that.
it's a beautiful park.
Yeah.
And we went there with my job, Riverside,
Yeah.
with people from 30 to 65, and they were able to interact with the children, with the young adults, and able to use everything together in a community setting, which is what parks should be.
And they have that musical, there's like some kind of xylophone or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this toddler room has some of the sound.
When it was described,
features.
and when I saw the pictures, that's what it
Yeah.
reminded me of.
Yeah,
because
totally.
There's one over on the west side, but I don't remember the name of that park at all. I've only
Westmoreland?
been there once,
Is
but
it Westmoreland Park?
no.
Oh, okay.
It's way over there, Beaverton-ish. But
Okay.
there's just a lot of communities that have maybe dated equipment or trying to infuse with just a couple of fixtures
Mhm.
that, like, you don't, that's the downside of the big fixture at McCormick Park or the big fixture down here. It's harder to upgrade.
Mhm.
Because if you have lots of different things and some piece of it's not working, you don't have to throw the whole thing out. You just go, we're going to change this room.
Yeah, another thing about this too, since it's the first, we were thinking if it's super popular, like if certain elements are popular, we can start incorporating them into other playgrounds in like Campbell.
Well,
or
because then it's
Columbia.
easier to switch it out. If something is not working or broken or vandalized, it's easier. There's still more places to play.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you for being here to answer the questions. It was just,
Yeah.
Matt was not fully prepared for
Yeah,
our
and,
fun
and
zone
Sue and I didn't coordinate very well.
I know how much it costs. So-
Where the money's.
That is not the part about the play that we need to hear first.
Okay, so thank you. And we're right on schedule. Look at this, folks. I mean, 3:00 department reports, and we are 2:58. So we're doing great. Chief Greenway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got a few things to cover. Yesterday, CCOM or Columbia 911, we had our quarterly advisory committee meeting, and I'll give you the good news first. Good news is they hired a crime analyst, and how that affects us here in St. Helens, specifically the police department. It's an individual that can go in and mine the data and give us actual real-time data of what we're looking at crime-wise in our city. Instead of using anecdotes, we think that this is our high accident intersection. This will actually be hard proof that we can better deploy our resources. I subscribe to policing with a plan, meaning that our officers, when they're deployed after briefing, they have areas that they concentrate on or hotspots to reduce crime, but also solve the problems instead of just continuing to respond there. So we really, without having this hard data, we wouldn't know. This will always also play in the part as we progress into the new police department location. Although this won't be the actually determining factor, but this is a consideration of our areas where the crime is in the city. And I would beg to differ that out of our 13 to 14,000 residents, everyone will want a police department in their backyard.
Yeah.
So that's good news. I'm going to meet with that gentleman. I've already made contact with him, or we got a meeting set up for next week to start the process so we can get some actual data from what our officers are responding to and what the picture of our community looks like crime-wise. Again, nothing alarming. This is nothing more than making sure that we put the right people in the right places to ensure we're effective instead of just driving around, although that's effective itself. So the other thing that was mentioned yesterday, I talked to Matt and Councilor Carlson, caught a little bit of this conversation, and just to give everybody a heads up of what's going on as far as our 911 system, this is not the sky is falling, but we should all be aware of this is on the horizon. And just some really quick notes that I took from yesterday's meeting. In 1995, the state of Oregon enacted a 75-cent tax on every device that could call 911, whether it be a mobile phone or a landline. Out of those devices, that tax money was then put towards an emergency call centers across the state of Oregon, meaning a 911 dispatch center, and that's what usually funds those centers. A majority of those fundings, plus some levies, bonds, whatever those communities have.
Yep.
Back in the 90s, there was over 400 of these centers. Over 400 across the state of Oregon, and they've combined them now. There are 43 left across Oregon. A lot of them are combining resources because of funding. Well, there was no, in the language of that bill, that tax bill, there was no, I would say, kicker or whatever you want to say to increase the funding, although cost of doing business. PERS, as we know, is kind of a thorn in everybody's side across the state. Business, the cost of programming goes up. The cost of vendors in all these centers goes up. Right now, the state is facing a $3.5 million deficit in funding 911 systems. So there was a senator, and I don't have his name, but he introduced House Bill 2449, which is a bill that, if it's passed, will then increase this cost from 75 cents to $1.50 per device, and will help stop the bleeding per se of the cost that is affecting all these agencies across our state. And for instance, to keep the cost down and to ensure they're all running, all 43, Portland they're cutting 20 dispatcher, 911 dispatcher positions out of Portland. 12 are being cut out of Washington County, meaning they're not going to fund those.
How are they able to keep up? I mean, these guys are getting so many calls, and it's high stress.
It is. And so real quick, our Columbia County actually is cutting one position. So because they have the levy, and they have money in the bank, so to speak, they're able to fund that. So in short, if this bill doesn't pass, there is an opportunity or a chance down the road, a few years down the road, that we would be on the hook to pay for 911 services. Most cities across the United States, this is a tax that's built in. The 911, whatever you pay, whether it's out of property tax or something. So we kind of mirror Forest Grove, although they have a 10,000 people, 10,000 more. They have 24,000 residents. We have roughly 13, 14,000. But our calls for service, anecdotally, are higher. This is where that piece of the crime analyst is going to come in, because it's going to help me, guide me to what our blueprint needs to look like as far as meeting calls for service in our community, instead of just saying, hey, we're short. Right now, I'm fortunate. Everybody knows the police department needs bodies. Okay, but I can't keep coming to the well year after year and asking for bodies without some type of hard evidence. So just based on talking with Director Mike Fletcher yesterday, he said that St. Helens mirrors Forest Grove as far as calls for service. And what Forest Grove pays per year for their 911 service, they do not have, from what I understand, he communicated to me, they don't have a levy. So out of the pocket is $356,000 a year they pay, which obviously will go to our community residents, I would assuming. So I'm going to draft a letter to send to the senator and try to garner the support of the other leaders of this law enforcement leaders of this county. I've already sent out a meeting request to kind of say, hey, this is our chance to step up, and because all that helps when they're lobbying in the Senate or in the sessions to help. So this is not. Please don't take this as this is happening. This is just on the horizon to give you guys some mindfulness. Councilor Carlson hit the nail on the head. Everybody's there asking for money. We totally get it. But this is something that affects the police department, fire service, medical, and nothing will shut down or anything. In fact, Mike Fletcher, they as a new director, has got the CCOM going in the right direction, I feel, as far as their training their people and providing the best possible service to our residents in this county that they can. But I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this to the council's attention, that this is on the horizon. I will follow this bill. I work with Mike Fletcher closely and keep you updated as it comes along and everything. Best case scenario, it passes. They increase the funding to $1.50 per phone tax, and then we're safe for how many more years we need. So, any questions on that I can answer for anybody? Or I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news on that, but I figured rip the Band-Aid off. We had the trailer put in the police department property. If you haven't had a chance to drive by, a huge thank you to everybody involved: Matt Brown, planning, public works. Special thanks to the school district. We're actually putting together a care package, a thank you package to them, because without them, this couldn't have been possible on that cost savings. So we're about roughly maybe a month and a half, 2 months to actually occupying it. Obviously, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. We have to do the, logistics of power and network for computers, but we're moving forward, and that is a huge, benefit for us to relieve us as, hopefully we continue to progress on the police station. So once it actually is ready to be open and everything, I'll invite everybody to come down and take a look at it. It'll be a quick tour because it's not very big, but, it's at least something you can look at. Tomorrow night is our first Thursday for May. One of the community favorite topics, it'll be our canine officer John Eggers, and Ryder. And we're partnering up with the Columbia County Sheriff's Office, and they will have their canine dog out there. Historically, when any police agency has canine out there, we have a large crowd, so we're anticipating that, and that's what we want. And we purposely scheduled this month because we might have to move it in the parking lot for any type of demonstrations. Like if you want a volunteer to come and get bit, please let me know. That would be a crowd pleaser. So hopefully we'll get a lot of families, a lot of kids out there, and they can, meet the dogs, pet the dogs, and see what they're capable of and why it's so important to have that program. Legacy, the grand opening of Legacy Health is on horizon. I have partnered up with them out of Portland and working with them on a security thing out here for this facility. So they were gracious enough to let me know that the new facility at 475 South Columbia, when they're moving from DMV right there, I think it's south of, or it's right there at McBride. They were going to open their grand opening Tuesday, June 25th. And it's from 6 p.m. to 7:30, and I'm assuming that the following day, on Wednesday, they'll be open full for business at that location. And I feel it's important for us to get in and to understand the layout of the facilities, as well as just start to build those partnerships with those people, because that's how we're successful in our community. And finally, I have the UASI boat meeting, and UASI again stands for the Urban Area Security Initiative. It's a federal grant that goes out to all first responders for any type of equipment that might be needed to kind of not individual police agencies, but counties at whole. So I've been in communication with Steve Pegram, who's our Columbia County Emergency Manager, and we have a meeting scheduled, and he's gonna we're gonna work together on possibly securing a boat for Sand Island. I almost said Sauvie Island, Sand Island, and we'll get that rolling to include the equipment associated with the boat and the training of our officers and everything. So again, this is the first meeting we have scheduled next week, so hopefully we'll have some good news to report back on that. So thank you again for the budget that you guys passed. It's really thank you. That's all we can say. The employees of the police department are very appreciative. They do work hard each and every day. We are going in the right direction as far as progressiveness as a city as whole. But I speak for the police department. My goal in the next meeting is to have one of our new vehicles on hand. We're scheduled to have one in the next 2 weeks. And like I said in the last meeting, we're going to have it parked out front. It is with the new color scheme that we
And that was a blue color scheme, right?
doesn't look like Portland.
Yeah.
It is blue and white, and
Yeah.
it pops with our logo. It's very professional, and I really am a believer of kind of branding
Sure.
our city and our police agencies so we're unique.
Yep.
It is a Dodge Durango, and it's got a new, as technology progresses, a new emergency light bar system, and there's some rhyme and reason behind having a blue and white vehicle. It actually reduces officers being struck on the roadway and it's going to help our tourism industry as a vehicle is unique across the United States that people will be able to identify it as a police vehicle if they needed an emergency. So hopefully with the next session, we'll have it parked out here, and I will give you forewarning. If you can come 10 minutes early, you can take a look at it and see what it looks like, because this is your police vehicle for this community. And again, the officers are, and the employees, it's not lost on them that you support them. And I'm just here as a mouthpiece to say thank you for everything, the budget, the new facility that we're working towards, the trailer and everything, and very appreciative. And they are out there every day, 24/7, making us look good.
And to be clear, that the new cars are leased, that they're part of the old budget.
Correct. And we actually have two vehicles, and I'll tell you how we're limping along, and this is a good program. We have two vehicles that we are not getting repaired. We're going to Band-Aid them to get them to auction instead of sinking money into them.
Yep.
So this program that we transitioned to, thanks to Matt Brown and you folks, is actually paying dividends right away. We're going to get them up to speed to sell, but we're not going to make them look like shiny new things.
Wasn't Jose Costello, wasn't he a huge part of this? His brother?
Yes, there were actually four people that were a huge part of this.
Yes.
Matt Brown, who Sergeant Jose Castilleja, Officer Brian Cutright, and Officer Dylan Gaston.
Yep.
And how we did it this time was because those are the officers' office, for lack of a better term, and they're in those vehicles all the time. Instead of the head of the agency coming in and say, you'll drive A, B, and C, I empowered them to say, you guys have to select the vehicle you want. So we were able to get vehicles from the manufacturers for a 2-week period. Insurance was covered, and they test drove each one, and they all got together and decided this was the best bet.
Yep.
And I think that's the way to.
Good way to build a team.
It is,
Yeah.
and we're going in the right direction. But again, I'm not doing this alone. I'm doing this we're doing this together.
That's
as,
right.
As a city, and I'm very happy. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sue.
I just have one thing. This morning, a little before 10 o'clock, a contractor out working on their private project hit one of our water lines and broke it. Apparently, it was a a long lateral break. Of the line, and our crews came down to the rescue and got everybody back into water service by 12:30. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job, Public Works.
It's over behind the village. Yeah, over there. It's not Brian's house. That was all.
Sue, speaking of water lines, there's a big hole over by the sewer plant going down the hill. How's that project coming?
That's a storm drain line, and so we're doing kind of a combination of private and our own crew to do the work on the repairs on that. A private contractor is going to come in and do part of it because we don't have the equipment to dig down that deep, and city crews are going to bring in gravel for backfill, and we're going to pre-purchase the manhole. We've already ordered pipe. That's unfortunately in the pipe industry, especially with larger diameter pipe, they don't just have it ready on the shelves. You have to order it and they manufacture it. So the pipe should be here next week, and then we'll have a contractor get in there and set the new manhole and dig out that and put the pipe in. They'll do all the backfilling and everything, and we'll pave it at a later date. But that's it's in the works on getting that done. Yeah.
Any reason why it collapsed?
No, there's no. We haven't been able to determine that. My theory is that because in that area when the road was built and a lot of that infrastructure was put in, they backfilled it with sand instead of appropriate granular material that could be compacted. And so because that's all flowing down towards the river and it collapsed on the top, there was big holes in it and large pieces of rock and material that were inside the pipe when we finally were able to access it. So my theory is that over years, decades, that the sand started to wash out from underneath that roadway, where several feet down where we couldn't see it, and the material that was stacked on top of it, which was larger, eventually there was a void under it, and that fell and either breached that pipe right then and there or sat on top of it, and over time more material came down and the weight of it broke the top of the pipe. But other than that, and it's really just in that one area. Once it turns and goes down towards the river, the pipe is in good condition. But just that one section right there under the roadway, and they did encounter sand when they were digging up that area. So that's the best guess that I have, but we don't know for certain
But that
what
project,
the issue
original
was.
work was done 20, 30 years ago?
Oh, yes, about 30-some years ago.
Okay.
Okay, Jenny, do you have?
Coincidentally, Neil was here for 37 years. So no.
I have to bring that up tomorrow.
Yeah, I have. So the wayfinding master plan, you might have seen a hole being dug on the plaza. That is part of the wayfinding plan. The kiosk is going there. So our crew's doing all the excavation work for those. There's 3 other signs going in. One on 7th off of Columbia, one in front of Fire and Rescue near Red Apple, and then one down here on the dead end of First Street in Columbia. So they're doing the excavation work, and then next week Ramsey Signs will be out to do the install of those. And fabrication has begun on the other 20 or so post signs.
Good job.
I had a question.
Nice.
I was wondering why I was seeing holes and shrubbery all cut down. And this is maybe not a question for you, but a quick question that I've been asked in the community, and it's fresh in my mind. The plaza area out here, I see things taken away and nothing added to. And so, like, trees die and aren't replaced. Shrubs are deemed past their prime and are removed, or die and are removed. And is there a long-term plan of what that place is going to look like? Because it looks like it's just going away. And I know that's the county, but we use it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we are hard on that square. And it's just like with the install of that sign,
Yeah.
will there be landscaping around it? Is the whole corner concreted?
No.
Looking for a project?
No, I'm just wondering, when people ask me in the community, how come
I can't speak to the larger plan for the plaza, but as far as the kiosk goes, there's information viewable on both sides,
Mhm.
and it needs to be ADA, so wheelchair access all around. So we are paving a corner. Yeah.
So,
with
so just
concrete.
some history on this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to comment on this. on
My
that
first
plan.
project was to put a sidewalk around the plaza.
Oh, okay. Like
Or-
into the street or into the
No,
plaza?
into the plaza.
Okay.
So doing that's why we decided to put the light poles with the fixtures on the bottom for the vendors and everything, because we were doing all that stuff out there. Well, in the process, when I went to see about the work for putting the sidewalk in, it was going to cut through all those roots of all those trees and probably kill the trees. So I made the mistake of not doing anything and saying, hey, what do we want to do with the trees? Next thing is my head was going to be hung from those trees because the ladies that planted those trees showed up in here in manpower. So obviously nothing got done except the light poles put in.
We're not going to touch the trees.
But that was when I believe there was only one missing tree, or maybe not even that. It was dead, I think. So we've lost 3 trees since then.
Oh, okay. I can tell you
We are at the end of their lifespan.
the process I had to go through for the kiosk too was I had to go before the planning commission because the plaza is a historic landmark. So they get the opportunity as the Historic Landmarks Commission to review for historic integrity to what the plaza used to look like. So I had to do that. You know, I had to go to the county commissioners. I had to talk to the facilities manager. So there was a lot of steps to get this kiosk approved, and yeah, it's
Well, that was
a lot
the
of
thing.
layers.
They were going by history, but history is there was nothing out there when it was
Yeah,
made.
there were no trees.
Right.
Yeah, but there was also kind of a crucifix pattern too. It was more intended for the visual impact of the courthouse, and now we kind of have this meandering path. One thing I will add too is our electrician who's bringing wire to the kiosk, because it's internally illuminated so you can see it at night, is also going to bring electricity to the center,
Nice.
the pedestal. Yeah,
Nice.
Right. And a switch for the lights.
and a switch for the lights. Apparently, I'm hearing. So yeah, because he's in there working. Now's the perfect time to fix that issue.
So come Halloween town time, we'll just start that rumor that Keith's ready to cut the trees, and then we'll.
He'll become part
We'll
of the
have-
decoration.
we'll have some
Maybe
Halloween
I'll-
town stories.
Maybe that's a good way to leave town.
Maybe it is, Keith. Jenny, thank you on all your hard work. I know it was frustrating to go over the county and deal with all the little layers. Yeah, that's what we find as.
What hasn't been
So you're
frustrating?
just one layer. You're just one layer.
Yeah, it
that's what we
hasn't-
find as builders or developers is you're just one layer.
Yeah, thank you to Roger and Dave Elder, Public Works staff, for doing all the excavation and being super
They were
responsive.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
All right, Matt.
Just two things. On the agenda tonight is a final reading of Ordinance 3237, which is the one to modify the utility privilege tax for utilities.
Yep.
That's something that Keith has been kind of hounding for a little while, and we finally got all the attorneys on it. Basically what this does is it allows us to get a franchise tax on the least portion of the pipe that we're not getting franchise taxes on. So after the final reading, we'll actually have a resolution adopting an actual fee to start collecting that.
So in a month and a half from now.
Yeah.
So this is like, well, the for instance was Cascades is getting their electricity through a broker, but that broker does not pay fees.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yes, we were like, what the heck? How's that happening? Franchise fees? There's none.
Well, you got to come up with a special code for it. Yeah.
Been a process for sure. The other thing I wanted to bring up is about the senior center. I've met a few times now with Kathy and Columbia Northwest Heating, as well as TCMS, who is our current provider for that facility, to do ongoing maintenance and any improvements on the heat and air conditioning unit on there. Kathy has been having some issues with some of the front offices as well as some of the kitchen areas, and so we invited TCMS to come give us a quote to come up with a solution. We also invited Columbia Northwest Heating and Cooling to come in and also give a solution and price quote to kind of do a little comparison. What Kathy and I had found out is that our contract with TCMS to do the maintenance on an ongoing basis, it actually ended back in 2014. So it is just kind of an ongoing thing that has been happening over the last 5 years. So we requested an updated quote from TCMS as well as Columbia Northwest Heating just to get at least a little comparison. To do the solution that we're thinking, which is installing some remote sensors to adjust some of the air and heating issues. Columbia Northwest Heating and Cooling was about $250 cheaper than TCMS for the exact same solution. In the yearly maintenance contract, Columbia Northwest was $2,250 a year, where TCMS was $3,777 a year. So it's a significant amount of difference. Obviously, the building is owned by the City of St. Helens, so Kathy is open and up for switching to Columbia Northwest Heating and Cooling if you are willing to do that. So that is a council decision.
Well, TCMS is not even local, are they?
No, they are not.
And
they
Columbia
are from
Northwest is
Longview, I
local.
think. Longview.
Yeah.
That was one thing Kathy mentioned, was that she loved that Columbia Northwest Heating and Cooling was 5-10 minutes away.
Yes, I would love Kathy. We're talking Kathy and Cincinnati.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, just TCMS. They are headquartered in Longview, but they do have local service people, and they have responded been able to respond
Sure.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think just being locally
But it
owned,
is- it-
yeah.
I
And
agree,
That
it's-
that price, yes.
Yeah, I just didn't want a misunderstanding that they had to, we had to wait hours and hours for someone to
Oh,
come back.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kathy has said that TCMS has been responsive.
Oh, very, yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah. Just a general consensus that you're okay with at least Kathy's recommendation of switching to Columbia Northwest?
And there's no reason why we'd have to go out for some kind of thing for a competitive bid process.
Well, that's why I requested at least two. I did not request a third one. Usually we try and do, 3 or 4 to kind of get a good feel. Are there other companies that...
So this will remedy the problem?
This will fix part of the problem. There's a number of issues in that senior center. As TCMS and Northwest Columbia both kind of did a walkthrough with Kathy and talked about some of the issues.
And what was the price on those again, Matt? I'm sorry.
So Columbia Northwest was $2,250 a year,
Yep.
and TCMS was $3,777 a year. So $1,500.
So about 2,000, over 2,000 a year, and we also allow them to use our facility that we did a community block for. So when it comes time that the city doesn't donate, I just want to make that clear because the old, and I haven't heard it from Kathy, but the old administrator, Cheryl,
yes,
was very adamant that we don't help.
I believe that sentiment has changed on the board with Kathy.
Sorry.
Just in my numerous meetings with her about the rec program and doing stuff with senior center and this process of going through. It's funny because TCMS actually would not meet with Kathy unless there was a city employee present, because I guess the prior person would call them out and then nothing would happen, and then they'd call them out again and nothing would happen.
No follow through.
No
So
follow.
it was a waste of their time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope. That's it.
Okay. Kathy.
Yes, I do have a few things. So at the last meeting, I mentioned to you that the Columbia Learning Center Board, city representative for that board, we need to have somebody appointed.
Mhm.
Have you guys thought of somebody?
I haven't. No.
Anybody?
How often?
Keith
How often do they meet?
I believe once a month.
And what day do they meet on? Doug, do you know? Do you remember?
I don't.
I'll do it for now.
Okay.
Appreciate that, Keith. I'm really super swamped.
Okay.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, I just am.
Oh, they're gonna love me on the board.
I'll let you know. I'll get you
Maybe
the
I'll learn you.
I'll get you the information, Keith.
Yes.
I wanted to let you know that there was a street closure that we approved.
Uh-huh.
It's for the traffic safety fair on May 18th, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on South 13th Street from the police station to Cowlett Street.
Okay.
I also wanted to mention a little bit as your city recorder about abstaining from votes. I pulled out the public meetings book and wanted to read a little statement out of it for you. Members of boards, commissions, or councils are obviously appointed to make decisions. To abstain is to fail to perform a most important function given to a board member. Absent compelling circumstances, for example, pecuniary conflict of interest problems, board members should not abstain from voting. So unless you have a specific conflict of interest, abstaining really isn't something you want to do. If you have conflicts of interest, you say you have a conflict of interest. If you have a packet of information that you have something in it that you have questions about, you get the packet ahead of time, come in and get information from council members, or excuse me, get information from staff members before you come to a meeting, so that you can have a lot of those questions answered ahead of time. That's why we get those packets out the Friday before the meeting. So I just want to encourage you to get as much information as you can before the meeting.
So basically, it's really frowned upon at the state
level.
State level.
You're elected for a reason.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
elected to represent your constituents. So
Okay.
that's I wanted to.
Even if you have declare, like I'm affiliated with, you still can vote. They still prefer you to vote.
No, if she, no,
I
no,
mean,
that's not what I'm saying.
She
I was
declared not
directly
to vote.
affected. I declared not to vote because my daughter's a senior and
Yes.
be
Yes.
perceived as she would benefit
That's
from that.
perfectly fine. That's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so other than that, they prefer you to vote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's just because you don't have, if you don't have information for something,
Yeah.
or lack of
Oh, I got you.
information,
Yeah.
or if you, like, there's been times where you don't want to vote because you don't have,
Yeah.
you don't have, enough details, or
Controversial.
you don't, it's controversial, you
Yeah.
don't want.
Be safe.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Exactly. That was
Yes.
an article I read that said, somebody said something about, I don't want it to appear to my constituents that I'm siding with one side or another.
Yeah.
Well, you were elected to vote
Yep.
on one side or another. So
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like the
so-
electoral college, basically. That's what you do.
yeah.
You're
So
one of those members.
so
Thank
I
you
just-
for reminding us.
yeah, and that's all I had.
Okay. All right, John. All right, thanks, John. Councilor Locke. Oh, wait. Tina Curry, come on up. Sorry, Keith. I don't, do we have anything to discuss?
Sort of.
Industrial property?
Yeah. Is that on the schedule? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's on there. Okay.
That'll take care of most of my stuff then.
Tina Curry. I'm just going to give you a quick update. We're starting an art and wine walk, which is going to be a free activity, and it is involving any business on First Street on every second Sunday for the entire summer. People will be able to go from shop to shop where they have the window placard and go inside and have a beverage, a sip of beverage, a little snack, and check out the art and the artists that they have at their locations.
Very cool.
And 13 Nights on the River is coming along swimmingly. Our first date is, of course, the first Thursday in June. I hope to see all you counselors down there to listen to not only the high school band, which will be performing on the opening night, but also Hit Machine. And 4th of July is also on a Thursday this year. We are partnering with the Chamber of Commerce so they can hopefully raise some funds for their new business center. July 13th and 14th, we have a Mardi Gras party that is happening, and we will be closing part of First Street. We'll have stilt walkers and just really fun activities for the kids through the recreation center. And the performers are from New Orleans, and they just happen to be in town, so it's both days on that weekend. And Plymouth Pub and Running Dogs Brewery and a bunch of other people are going to be involved in that.
What do you feel about a farmer's market on that Saturday, too? Just asking.
They can do, I mean, if they're open, they
You've
need to
heard
be
of-
open
have
every
you heard of the
Saturday.
discussion at all?
Yeah, they
Okay.
need to be open every Saturday.
So what about the July 6th? Would that be a conflict?
I don't think so.
In any way?
Uh-uh.
Okay, I just wanted, but I left it open. Just
No, because the 4th is on Thursday. We're not going to be celebrating
Okay.
on Saturday.
That's why I'm asking.
Yep.
Got the answers there.
We have a new tourism program that we're designing that we will be benefiting in rotation, different groups. The first ones that we're going to be raising money for are the Elks, Rotary, Kiwanis, and the Food Bank. And our goal is to add $1,000 to each of those groups. And we also, I just wanted to mention that First Street never looked so good, in my opinion, of being here and like thumping the please, let's clean up First Street plead with several other people involved. And, Philip and Molly have totally cleaned up First Street in front of the Plymouth Pub, which I think looks really fantastic now. And my trees are still alive thanks to Neil and his team for taking over me dragging around a wagon to water trees last year.
So hopefully those will continue to grow. And now my personal vendetta of making something look better is going to be the Cowlitz cleanup. So that little section down there across from the very nice manicured section. So be prepared. And then also, you know, Keller Williams with this huge renovation that's going on in the plaza is just facelift the whole plaza, in my opinion, for just having a beautiful place with our new signage. And I'm excited to see that all come together. Working with Sand Island as well to help them get online for the camping sites and some adventure rides that are going to be going on there. And I also have just hired Christina Sullivan as part of my team. So,
Nice.
Any questions? There's a lot in there, but
No, I don't think so.
okay. Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Tina.
All right, Councilor Locke.
Okay, put my Kiwanis hat on, although I'm not a Kiwanis anymore, but I'm helping with the parade still. So June 15th, you plan on being there?
Of course.
Okay. Pick out the mayor's trophy. And so this year, our
Who's Grand Marshal?
Grand Marshal, it was going to be Les Waters, but he's not that kind of guy. So he says, I'll do it if the whole historical committee is on. So now we have at least 7, if not 8 or 9.
That's a big convertible
of their
No,
group.
can we put them on the
So we just happen to own a convertible that you drive. So I offered that could be it, and they can decorate it, you know, with whatever they want to decorate it with and all that and whatnot. So if that works,
sure,
okay. And I don't know. I guess the council could ride on it too if you wanted to or whatever.
I will tell you this, just so you know. You're sitting on that thing. You're sitting on that thing and you're driving, and it's fine. But you get to about IGA, and they're pressing that clutch, and it's just weird because it's not stiff or hard. It's just the positioning. Your legs are going to cramp right here because you're not moving very fast and you're constantly pushing on that clutch. I've driven it twice now for the regular parade and now the Halloween.
The clutch goes down.
And I walked
forward,
like limp.
Well, that's okay. I've got real short legs. No problem.
Okay, I'm just letting you know. Yeah, you're about my size. You're full of crap. So,
we'll see.
Yes, I'm not kidding you.
Okay, so just
Might
more
have to
on
drive or
that.
change it.
I've asked the youth council to help us clean up at the end of the parade. So we're gonna reach out to the Key Club and the Leadership Club and the Boy Scouts and whatnot, and see if we can get a whole group of kids following the parade to help clean it all up and pass out garbage bags.
Now, if they get it into the road, is that part of the city or is that part of the $500 if we have to sweep? I forget what it was.
If they have to clean up, then we have to pay the $500.
If they sweep even? Because there's that.
So there was a question about the sweeper, though, about whether are they still going to sweep the street or?
No. If the city pays the 500, we sweep. If we don't pay the sorry.
If we don't sweep, if we don't.
But don't we sweep Columbia Boulevard anyway?
Only on our sweeper days. If you pay the $500, then we would sweep after the parade.
I clarified that at the Kiwanis meeting, exactly what you were saying.
We're going to try and clean it up.
All in one has a street sweeper too.
Well, one of the parents from the youth council offered to use his company truck and sponsor a pickup if he had little helpers.
Hey, I'll tell you.
And we're going to try and teach all the participants along the side to help clean up. You know, yeah.
City of Portland's got it down. They use them. They use their street sweepers to start blocking the roads, and then they follow. So the first few blocks are all street sweepers, And then once the parade's past them, they start actually sweeping right behind. They are the final of the.
It's a
Right
machine.
behind the horses, right?
It's a machine.
Streeper then should be a participant in the parade.
I bet their permit fees are a lot more expensive.
I bet you're right. That Rose Festival pulls in a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
What else you got, Keith?
So the rest I'll do in executive session.
Hey, Keith,
Oh, no, I have one more thing.
Good.
So now that I'm in Salem, I was following this great police truck the other day, and I was reading on the back, they got like 4 words, 4 choice words of what they, what their meaning is, like all kinds of things. I just thought that was kind of neat that they put stuff on the car to kind of
Partners with the community, serve and protect.
Exactly,
Right. We're doing the same.
Keith, I got a question while you're reporting. And I talked to you about this, I believe, that quite a few people have come up to me and asked what the deal is with you being in Salem and being here. Do you have, because at one time you said that you were stepping down, and can you clarify that to our citizens so that everyone knows?
I was kind of thinking the end of the year because it was just the end of the year, and I figured that I was hoping there would be no change on the council. And then the other part too was that I was hoping that somebody was going to end up doing my job that I do down at the property and that kind of stuff. So we have no replacement for me for now. So I think we're planning that in the new budget process, and hopefully before the end of this year. I'm even thinking it would be nice this summer if I can get out here, but I will stay here as long as I'm needed for the mill process anyway. So that's why I'm still here.
Now the public knows. Thank you.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, Councilor Carlson.
Most everything's already been covered. I have brought this up to Matt and I brought it up to John. And something that I brought up to the chamber board, because I serve with the board, that got a standing ovation from the rest of the members. It's like people, when they say they support something, need to support it in all ways, which means that you show up. So if we're going to partner with the chamber and be supportive of local business, when they have a local event, somebody from the city should show up. And I know when I used to be a local business owner, somebody from the city always came. And that's not always the case now. And I know that the last after hours thing that they had, Matt came down, and as did Sharon came down. And so then I was there, so at least there was some representation of the city. So it's not like I'm asking staff to go, but it's like we should kind of make sure that someone's going just to be there, to be a PR representative, to hear what's on the mind of our local businesses, to listen. Because if we're not listening, how are we really in touch with people? Because in the past, John's not here to speak for himself, but previous city administrators had attended, previous finance directors have attended, and it's just, I think in the turnover, we've gotten away from that practice, but I think that we need to show our support and lead by example.
We can do that. I think we can do that here. And if there's anything coming up in the next 2 weeks, maybe we can resolve it like right now. If you know anything.
I mean, I always can do the night. I do all the night stuff, all the weekend stuff. But they have coffee meetings at 8 o'clock in the morning. I can't make it to, and I know Matt has hit up a few of them. But just I just want to give Matt the permission or encouragement to, when he gets that email, to spread it around to make sure someone's going.
I know that we do have, we have through other forums have reached out to businesses too.
Right.
Through E2C Tourism, and she continues to work with the chamber too as well, and partner with them. So, and I understand the overall, but we are to some extent doing that. It may not be the exact face of a counselor or a mayor. The mayor can't attend everything, and
Right,
councilors
that's what
can't
I'm saying.
attend
Not
everything.
everybody can be everywhere, but there's between this group
Yes.
and Matt and John. I know Jenny's gone to a few things, but it's a way that we can know firsthand right away. I mean, Tina can't be at all those things either. It's not local warm fuzzy things are not the purview of tourism. that's our job. Tina's job is about bringing guests to our community, not holding hands for people. But
Yeah, before you came along, we had a liaison to the chamber.
that's me.
Got it.
That's me. But I can't be at everything, and I'm just saying, when I attended as a business, there was always a paid staff and an elected person.
Yeah.
And that was just a pattern, and I think with all the change, we've gotten away from that. And I just wanted to welcome Steve Topaz. If, seeing stuff on the calendar, you're always welcome. As the city's a member, every single person is welcome to attend a chamber event. That's all.
Thank you. Councilor Topaz.
Our librarian's on vacation. They're taking care of themselves. That's about it.
Okay.
They're in New York enjoying many things, which we don't have here, like the opera. So that's what's happening.
Good for them.
In this end of the world.
All right. Council President Morton.
Well, I'm very encouraged with Patrick Trapp being here today again from the port and offering his expertise and encouraging Keith to possibly reach out and work with him with their expertise of developing industrial property.
I've talked to him a lot.
Okay, so that's already in the works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And along with that, the port has taken the council's recommendation, and that recommendation came from a hearing that Rick and I attended during a hearing in, I believe it was in Columbia City, dealing with the railroad study.
The first one was in Columbia City. The second one was at our learning center.
Oh, that was
so
at our
big.
learning center.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was so big. Remember there were news
That
stations
one.
there?
Right, right.
Yep.
And so what we did was we recommended at that time a railroad study, and now the port is going ahead with that study, and that's very encouraging. An independent study of the positive and negative effects of railroad traffic through our city, and that's very much appreciated that they're showing a positive effort in that collaboration. And along with those lines, we had talked about storage of hazardous waste in our city. And I believe that we have an ordinance. Could I ask the staff if that could be researched and we could look at that ordinance? Because I think our issue is with the switching yard, and our issue is with the oil tankers being stored there over the weekend. And if we have an ordinance of no storage of hazardous material in our city, we need to look at that, because on the weekends, if you look there, you can count maybe 12 or 15 oil cars, and I think that's our issue. That's our important issue. Can't do anything really at this point about oil going through or hazardous material going through our community. But the ordinance does pertain to storage of the hazardous material. So I'd like our staff to research that to see if that ordinance is still intact and how it's enforced and what the issues are about it.
I think I think there definitely is a resolution around that, Kathy. And I think it was kind of loosely based, though. But I know there is definitely a resolution because I had that available.
Do you?
I did have it
Okay.
with me on that first hearing.
Yeah, okay. So if we can look at that, maybe craft something that deals with that switching yard, because I see that switching yard as a huge liability to our citizens and to our city.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. All right. So, Jenny, I was going to talk to you about community development, taking it away from Keith and giving it to you, because you're already sitting on the planning commission. And Keith, you're in.
Away.
Yes.
Around.
Yes.
Not immediately available.
Not to yank it out, but I just see the future. and I think it'd be a good fit with you being on planning commission already and understanding some of the directions. So, doesn't have to happen right now, but something to think about. Okay? All right. And then Columbia County, we've been working with them as far as Salmonberry and the ATV, getting a grant drawn up, or actually in the process of getting a rendering for a grant, and it has to happen sooner than later. That we have $15,000 from Travel Oregon, Oregon, right? Yes. And we need an additional $5,000, which will help the grant process expedite it and to further the trails and the process along. The nice thing about the $5,000 extra, and it's asked to the city from the county, and it's kind of partnership, is that it will be a matching grant for the bigger one down the road. So it's not like it's just wasted $5,000. It's a match of $10,000. Basically, it's $10,000. It helps further the process. I know I'm not really stating it very clearly because the meeting's been almost 2 weeks ago, and it was fresh in my mind then. I have talked it over with administrator, and he's definitely on board with what he heard. And I see Jenny's over there shaking his head, and I know Matt is probably familiar with it a little bit now, or has been, but knew about the ask. So I guess what I'm asking for is a head nod to allow John the ability to sign an intergovernment agreement with them and $5,000 on that.
If it's for, I believe in the project. Trails are awesome. Salmonberry is a great cause. But I think it's about where the money comes from.
The future money, the reason they need $5,000, the future money comes from ATV. Every gallon of gas you buy, 10%.
Where does Matt get the money?
Where does Matt get the money? He'll find the ways to get the money.
Well,
It's his problem.
isn't there some capital improvement for trails?
There's is it SDC eligible?
No.
No. You can take the $5,000 out of facility major maintenance.
It'll be the only asset we get from them other than the use of the property. It's a good deal for this whole county.
The other portion is you could take it from the community development fund, the economic development department, since it does kind of have to do with the potential of that park and some of the fees that come into that. There is a decent argument there of why to take it out from the community development fund.
That seems like that reach is makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, the tough thing about this is why I'm asking is because it's on a very short time limit for passing it.
Trails are awesome. Developing Salmonberry is awesome.
Yep.
Just making sure staff has good direction on what they need to do.
So do we have a head nod? I guess we need a census.
As long as you don't use names, it's okay. Okay, we're green.
Use your mic, please. So you're okay?
Yes.
Okay. That's last year's.
Keith, okay?
Yeah.
Kitty? Yes, okay. All right. Okay, and you wanted to go back?
Yeah, I want to go back.
Okay.
And one of the things I want to congratulate the rec department for stepping forward today. And Shauna, firsthand, before she did her testimony, said, if there are any questions, please wait to the end. And I'm glad she said that, because my report was going to be all about council demeanor and how we work with staff. And this is an ongoing situation that has not been resolved yet, but it will be resolved by our acting city manager. And so what I'd like to do is apologize on behalf of the council to any staff that we have really felt who have felt bullied or abused in their testimonies. And what we need to do with what the council needs to do is make certain that we take all our questions to the very end. And she had very good advice today to say, if you have any questions, let's have them at the end. And the civility of her testimony and the civility of the responses with the council was at its utmost today. It hasn't been in the past. So as president of the council, I want to apologize to Shauna specifically for the demeanor in the past. And it's getting worked on, believe me. I was going to say more, but I'm not going to say more. Okay, that's enough. And hopefully we have positive remarks and positive concerns from here on out.
Yep, that's what we're about, moving forward. And I appreciate that comment, Councilor President. All right, so we're going to go into, but I have to adjourn. Oh, we're going to be going into executive session after this, so we're adjourned.
5 minutes.
Yeah, not even 5, guys. I'd rather just